Good afternoon and welcome to a sunny, for the moment, Knockhill up in Scotland. We've been actually very lucky with the weather up here so far. Very minimal rain for the track side, which has been absolutely brilliant. But we've got all of our championships here this weekend. We have Academy, both groups. We have Roadsport, 270, 310 and the 420s have joined us on this weekend. So we've got some fantastic racing for you to watch. We've got lots of races today, and then tomorrow, if you don't know already, we run this track in the anti-clockwise. So people qualified this morning, they've got races this afternoon in clockwise direction, and where they finish that race is where they will start in the anti-clockwise direction tomorrow. So it's going to be a very exciting weekend, and this track is very challenging. There's so many different complicated sections, lots of blind crests, lots of big curves, big sausage curves that we're all having to deal with. But yeah, it's been really good. Obviously I've been testing here as well, and it's a lot of fun. Love this track. So the cars are parked up behind me. This is the Vertex 7 UK cars, so we'll just let them get in, some of them into position. Harry Senior, he is second on the grid, but also first in the AM class. So Harry, you're in a good spot here, aren't you, for the race?
Yeah, I think Justin's the next AM. He's down in fifth. So plan is to stay with Lewis and Will and Donkin, and you know, try and get an overall podium, maybe even a win if we're lucky, but certainly secure a good AM finish.
Excellent. Yeah, great start for the weekend for you. And just out of interest, I'm going to ask lots of people this question. Which direction do you prefer, clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Definitely clockwise.
Oh, okay.
I'm not great. I mean, anti-clockwise is more fun,
yeah,
but I'm not as fast. Oh. I think tomorrow I'm going to be really clinging on to these guys. Lewis and Paul looked mighty fast yesterday. So, yeah, I need to get a good result here now, otherwise the weekend's a bit of a waste.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we wish you all the best, Harry. Have a good race. Let's move on down, and we'll have got Lewis Thompson there in pole position. He had a great super pole. We'll have a quick word with Will Smith. I'll just nip on round. Sorry guys, just have a quick word, Will. In a good position in your lovely colour car. This was part of the photo shoot yesterday, wasn't it, for the Olympics, for the bronze car?
Yeah, it was nice to be on that photo shoot for that, and yeah, you, like as you say, starting in a good place. We've got a quick pack around us, but as long as we can get a good start, pick up the opportunities as they come, then yeah, hopefully we can build from here.
Yeah, excellent. Well, wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we'll have a quick move on down, have a word with Ben, if he doesn't mind. Let's see. Hello Ben, do you mind having a quick word?
Hello, sir.
Good. Yeah, going well this week?
Yeah, a little bit disappointed with quali, to be honest. Testing's been going quite well. It's my first time here, so it's a bit of a eye-opener. I've never jumped to Caterham before, but we have now. Yeah, I was looking at the data, and I think I just lost it in the last sector. Didn't get a toe on the right time and all the rest of it. But hopefully we can go forward from here.
And that's the thing, although this is quite a short circuit, you know, it's under a minute for you guys, but the toe is still so super important, even though it's so short.
Yeah, it's only 2-3 tenths, but 2-3 tenths is all it takes around here.
Yeah.
And it is going to be tricky to pass, but also it's very easy to make a mistake around here. So I think a bit of consistency is going to be key.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good advice. All right, wish you all the best.
Nice
Thank you. Yeah, it is. Consistency is definitely going to pay off round here. We'll have a quick word with Chris Fraser. Chris has got the same livery car as me, this lovely Dutch Barn vodka. Chris, good position for you.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not bad. I've going well this weekend, so I love this track. So much fun.
Yeah, I've seen a great photo of your car airborne, and it's so far off the ground. It looks amazing.
I stuck the landing though.
Yeah, that's the main thing, isn't it? It's like you see these amazing photos, but what happens afterwards? But you know, you obviously made it stick. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I might have broke my diff, but let's not talk about that.
You know what? It's worth a shot, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it looks like Harry Potter. Like I'm just levitating. It's good fun.
Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, you're enjoying it. Do you like it anti-clockwise as well?
I actually prefer it the other way. So this is my least preferred. The other way Just love that bottom section. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And you can really attack the bottom and then come up onto this straight.
Yeah.
And you've got to be really brave to go fast, which that tends to suit me. Maybe because I'm slightly mad.
It's flat out for us coming up to this last corner on anti-clockwise. Is it for you guys?
We have to have a little lift.
Yeah.
Little lift. If you keep it in, you'll go off.
Yeah.
So we just have a delicate little lift just to get a little bit of rotation, and then it's flat out down there. It's good fun though. You did all right this morning.
It was good, yeah. 11th I qualified. So, but we had 2 red flags in our session. So in 15 minutes, it takes away quite a lot of the time. But it's what it is. It's racing, isn't it?
No, that's right.
Motorsport.
That's right. I mean, I had 3/10 up on a lap, and it just lost the toe down the back. So that would have put me up on pole. So anyway.
So close, isn't it? Yes, exactly. Ready and raring to go. Right, wish you all the best. Have a good race. We'll just have a quick word with Mike Evans. Oh no, he's just adjusting his mirrors on his car, which is very important. Okay, it looks like we are going to be... I think we might have to move off the grid in a second, actually. I think they are... But I will... Yeah, Kirsty's making us get off the grid. So we'll have a quick word with Mike. Oh, no, we won't. We'll leave Mike. He's still adjusting his mirrors. But, the picture I was talking about with Will's car, Caterham did a photo on the grid for the Olympics. They chose a bronze, silver and gold car. Because in the Roadsport, we've got Paul Goldstein and his lovely gold car. Obviously, we've got Will's bronze coloured car, and then we had a aluminium car for the silver. So it's a great photo. Check it out on Caterham's Instagram page. But yeah, we've got to get off the grid. So I will hand over to our guys in the commentary box, David and Cheesy, and they will take you from there.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Sam. Good afternoon here at Knockhill from the commentary box, and a warm welcome to the home of Scottish motorsport here at Knockhill for a weekend of Caterhams galore here with Caterham Motorsport, all of their factory championships in action across 15 races over 2 days and in 2 different directions as well. Chris Hutchinson alongside me, a man who knows far more about Caterham racing than I do, a former Caterham champion. Certainly a very interesting and very exciting weekend in prospect.
Pretty unique in British motorsport, yeah, to run both directions on one track as part of one race meeting. So it's fantastic to be here, and what a sight they make. Grey clouds in the background there, but it's windy, and at the moment it looks like we're going to be holding off. There was just a bit of drizzle earlier on, so keep an eye out for them. They're all the slick shod 7 Championship UK cars out there, so they will be hoping that the rain does not come down, because that will have to cool time on their race. But at the moment, all looking good, and it's been an exciting morning already with the qualifying.
Yes, and Super Pole as well. The top 5 drivers from qualifying going through into Super Pole to set the top 5 places on the grid over a single lap, and it was Lewis Thompson, the reigning champion, who set the fastest time in Super Pole. Was only 4th in the qualifying session, but got his lap right in the one-shot showdown, as touring car racing used to call it. He starts alongside the man who was quickest in the original qualifying session, Harry Senior, number 28. Second row, 27, William Smith, and 24, the championship leader, Paul Donkin. And on the third row, we've got Justin Armstrong in the number 23, alongside 49, Ben Simmons. 4th row, number 8, Chris Fraser, and 93 of Mike Evans. Completing the top 10, Matthew Armstrong, number 19, and the 50 of Wes Payne. Moving on back to the 6th row, we've got 62, Darren McCormack, and number 3, Oliver Smith. Carl Jones, number 11, and number 9, Matthew Dyer, completing this grid of 14 cars. This is the premier class of Caterham racing in the UK, the Vertex Caterham 7 UK Championship, and certainly the fastest cars that we'll see here this weekend.
Yeah, seriously quick. They're almost up touring car kind of pace around this 1.3 mile circuit, and they'll be rigorously trying to get heat into their tyres right now to get them off the line. It's a really short lap, and therefore they haven't really got very long to get that heat in the tyres, but it was Thompson who made the best of that qualifying. He actually got a little bit of a tow from Justin Armstrong out in front of him, but looking really resplendent out there. The track's in great condition, and they've been having some fantastic times during testing, and they really do look at the real business. They're 180 horsepower, 6 weeks of sequential box on those slick tyres. They do seriously have a turn of pace around here, and if you're in the region and not here already, then why aren't you? Let's get you on the banks. It's a fantastic action. Caterham's never disappoint, and we're going to see some spectacular action, I'm sure, over the course of the next 2 days.
We certainly are, yes. This will be a 20-minute race to kick off the day for the Vertex Caterham 7 UK Championship. They have a total of 3 races across this weekend. 2 on the anti-clockwise circuit tomorrow. This is the only circuit in the UK licensed to run in both clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. You won't see that anywhere else. As we wait for the cars to pull up on the grid, it will be a standing start for all races this weekend. Lewis Thompson, the defending champion, the DW Motorsport car on pole, the black and green car. In the light blue and red machine is number 28, Harry Senior, who's made his way through the Caterham ranks over the last couple of years. And then on the second row, William Smith in the bronze liveried car, we heard that mentioned, alongside the red and white of Paul Donkin. He's raced just about everything from Citroen C1s up to Ariel Atoms over the years, as well as Caterham's a good sim racer as well. So we await the signal to get underway from the marshals. Then the green flag will wave at the back of the grid once all 14 of these cars are in position. Then the red lights come on, and then when they go out, the race will be underway. The green flag is waved at the back of the grid. The revs beginning to rise. The 5-second board is held out by the start marshal. And it's time to go racing here at Knockhill. The red lights are on the gantry. They go out, and away we go with the first race of the weekend, the Vertex Caterham 7 UK Championship. And who's going to get the whole shot down into Duffer's Dip? It's a good start by Lewis Thompson. Harry Senior there on the outside, trying to get the inside is William Smith. They go down in towards the left flick at Leslie's. A couple of cars go across the grass and the gravel, but they've all kept it going. Then the right-hander at McIntyre's. There's contact. 3 cars go off. Oh, disastrous start there. So who's gone in there? Mike Evans, number 93, is one of them. He makes his way through the gravel and out the other side. He'll rejoin at the back of the field up towards the chicane,
like
but 2 other cars off at the back.
Yeah, look like one of the Armstrongs as well, and maybe Ben Simmons in that med pack, so let's keep an eye out for who's coming around and whether we can see them. But yeah, that's also in a bit of deep gravel. It's hard to get cars out of there, so it might be that they can't. McCormack was the one that ran across the grass, or one of the drivers that ran across. We put a safety car out, being deployed to go and tidy those cars away. So not the great start. They didn't really make it through either of those corners without incident that time.
So 2 cars in the gravel at the right-hander at McIntyre's, which is the reason for the safety car coming out. Your leader is Lewis Thompson. That's number 49 car of Ben Simmons. He's come through a number of Caterham series over the years, including the Magnificent Sevens run by another club, and he's stuck on the edge of the circuit. You can clearly see why the safety car is out. Quite a bit of damage to his car, sadly. And if you have problems in the first race, then it will affect the whole of your weekend, because of course the result of race 1 sets the grid for race 2, so on the result of race 2 sets the grid for race 3, so he's got to fight his way through in the next 2 races if he can get the car back out.
Yep, so he's got a long weekend ahead of him, but that's an exciting prospect for us, because Ben's right up to speed in the 7 Championship UK. Good to see him back on the grid this weekend, and shame to see him in the gravel just now, but hopefully they'll be able to drag him, and that might mean that he can actually join the rear of the trail, but I imagine he'll be a lap down by the time that happens. He's just fully embedded. As we see the rest of the field, though, I think did manage to get out there. So I think it was Justin Armstrong. So it was that mid-pack, Evans, Justin Armstrong. Simmons just didn't make it through after we saw a little bit of McCormack. I think it might be Matt Dyer as well on the grass in that opening lap. So first time to see the safety car this weekend. It's a shame it's so soon, but the rest of the field all will run nose to tail, looking to see how quickly that's going to get tidied away, and then we get the action back up and running.
I must say a big thank you to all our volunteer marshals here at Knockhill this weekend. We couldn't go racing without our volunteer marshals and other officials, and the Orange family always work certainly overtime to make sure everyone can enjoy their motorsport. British marshals are known as the best in world motorsports, and the marshals bringing in the recovery Land Rover to drag Ben Simmons' car out of the gravel. The Matt Blythe Motorsports run machine is being hooked up there to the recovery vehicle, and eventually we'll get back underway, hopefully just one more lap under the safety car. But it is a short lap here. The quickest lap in the qualifying session by Harry Senior was, I think, 52.2 seconds. That sounds more like a speedway heat, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think only Brands Hatch Indy is shorter on that, with 50-odd seconds in these awesome race machines. Worth pointing out as well that we've got 2 classes in this championship. We've got the Pro-Am, the top class, for the drivers who have got plenty of Caterham experience or have a previous series of good podium results. And then we have the Am class for drivers coming into this series or who haven't had previous Caterham experience. Harry Senior actually is in the Am class and is leading that over Chris Fraser, who we spoke to both of those on the grid. So Harry Senior nearly getting it on pole position. He actually had a fastest lap in the open opening section of qualifying. Didn't quite manage to make it pole position, but it's second place, so really healthy. The only problem he's got is if he gets on the podium this weekend, I believe that means he actually gets promoted into the Pro-Am class, because he's had too many good results. But it's good to see him here. He's done lots of graduate racing in the past, and great to have him here in the top class of Caterhams, and yeah, clearly doing well.
Yeah, his battles with Harry Kramer have been a feature of the Caterham Graduate Championship over the last couple of years. Certainly some fierce fights going on there. I didn't actually know you could change classes during a season, so I've learned something this weekend. The lights are still on top of the Ford safety car there, leading the cars around. So I imagine we're going to go for another lap behind our safety car. Paul Donkin just staying ahead of the number 8 of Chris Fraser, the Dutch Barn Vodka sponsored turquoise car there. No drinking and driving, of course.
Great result for Chris Fraser, though. He was, I think, he's been showing some real progress, and watching him testing, he was flinging that car around and it really has paid off. He's got that speed in there, and he's just ahead of Matt Armstrong as well, coming across from Porsche Racing, and doing very nicely. He's been one of those drivers who's had an awful lot of speed in the car, but just hasn't maybe made it to the end of it. So there's a lot of tactics and just being consistent in a Caterham, and it looks like he's got to get that under his belt. But he's racing with his dad on the same grid. Unfortunately, we saw Justin in that gravel, so he's further back. In fact, he's in our 13th place at the moment, just ahead of Simmons, who hopefully will be either returning to the pits or joining the back of the grid.
Yeah, you've got to position yourself and know when to make your finishing move, I think, is the way to put it in Caterham racing. The place you don't want to be is leading into the last corner, or even out of the last corner, because you will get slipstreamed.
It'd be interesting to see this weekend, with wind direction sort of with them as they head up the hill, whether they can get past by the time the line comes up. Obviously that character of that changes, but it looks like Thompson is dropping away from the safety car, so I imagine we're going to see the safety car with its light out, and we are going to get racing back up in action with about 14 minutes still on the clock.
Yes, the circuit isn't called Knockhill for nothing. We are on top of quite a high hill here in the Kingdom of Fife. And if you look in the right direction from here to the south, you can see the Forth road and rail bridges on the horizon as well. Certainly a very spectacular sight, but it looks like we are ready to get back underway then. Safety car has pulled in. Lewis Thompson's green machine will lead them away with just under 14 minutes of the action to go in the Vertex Caterham 7 UK Championship. Race number 1 of the weekend. The revs are up, the green light is on, and we're back underway. Harry Senior in second place, William Smith in third. Well, we call that the bronze car. Surely if we're racing in Scotland, it should be called the Iron Brew coloured car.
He's right for that sponsorship, isn't it? Lewis Thompson caught Harry Senior snoozing a little bit at that restart. He went very early down the back straight, but Harry Senior now back in the slipstream, and therefore will close back up. Knockhill, though, is an incredibly tricky course to overtake at. You can see how much you have to monster the curbs around here to extract the most speed up through that chicane. Tomorrow we're going to go down through that chicane, which is equally as exciting, but the whole field streaming through, and I think Thompson, next time we see him, will have been caught by that pack as we watch them coming into Taylor's hairpin. In fact, yep, Harry Senior right on the tail now, with William Smith looking on the inside. A little bit of maybe a lock up there from Donkin just as he came through with Chris Fraser, then Matt Armstrong.
Move being made there further back in the midfield. That was the cars of Carl Jones and Matt Dyer possibly swapping places at Taylor's turn. The hairpin at the end of the lap. Down into Duffer Stip once again for the 6th time. Fastest lap of the race recorded by Harry Senior. That time through 52.799 for the number 28 in second place, the man from Ascot. Heading down towards the bottom of the course, then it's up towards this chicane. A spectacular roller coaster piece of circuit flying over the curbs. Just past the point where one of the most infamous incidents in Knockhill's history, when a certain Gabriele Tuarquini was rolled out of the race in the Alfa Romeo back in the 90s, and Murray Walker's voice went up an octave or two. We still miss you, Murray. As the snake heads onto the back of the course, then back towards Taylor's turn. The 4 leaders breaking away. Thompson Senior, Will Smith and Paul Donkin. Behind them looks like Matt Armstrong may have got himself ahead of the number 8 of Chris Fraser.
He did, just made a good move down at the hairpin there. He can see that gap disappearing off, but Chris Fraser fighting back, therefore they're going to go side by side for that 5th position there. But it is Thompson launching himself over the curbs with Harry Senior in close attendance, Will Smith and then Paul Donkin. So all of our sort of championship main contenders right up there at the front there, looking good at this early phase. And in fact they've got that little bit of a comfort gap. Fraser is back through over Armstrong.
It's the 4 leaders pulling on. We'll see what the gap was. It was 1.7 seconds from 4th to 5th last time through. Must be a right clatter as you go over those curbs in one of these Caterhams. They're fairly stiff set-up cars. The leaders head along through Hislops, named after Steve Hislop, the great motorcycle racer, along Railway Straight towards Taylor's Turn. Swing their way in, no moves being made at the moment. Fraser back ahead of Armstrong in the battle for 5th. Then it's Wes Payne ahead of Carl Jones. 9th place is Ollie Smith. Then it's Matt Dyer rounding up the top 10. McCormack Evans and Justin Armstrong rounding out the field at the moment. See them getting into the slipstream as they head along the top straight as they swing into Duffer's Dip, then into the left-hander at Leslie's, named after the late great touring car racer David Leslie. Then into McIntyre's, the right-hander, Butcher's, and then up towards the chicane. Over the curbs they go. Still no change among our top 4.
Matt Armstrong, though, has got back in front again. Then there is this other gap back to our chasing group, Simmons and then Matt Dyer, Mike Evans. So all the cars that had issues earlier in our race are in this little quintet of cars making their way around Clark's that time through. They're going to have to be careful a little bit with track limits on the exit of Clark's. I saw some of them pushing out onto the soft or the tarmac, and they've been told this morning that they will be clocked for that, so they will need to keep an eye out there. Matt Dyer down the inside of Simmons, then into that time it's Taylor's. One of the two real opportunities for overtaking, once into that Taylor's and then once into Duffer's Dip. The rest is very much follow a leader at the moment.
Well, here come the midfield battlers. This is the fight for 5th position. Matt Armstrong back ahead of Fraser once again. Just behind them is Wes Payne. Armstrong was a little bit wide there coming out of McIntyre's. Gathers it up for Butchers, and then this climb up into the chicane. You can see how much they bounce over the curves looking from the rear view there. And somebody's gone wide coming out of the chicane onto the gravel there. That may have been either Wes Payne or Carl Jones, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe Payne. We lost him from the group, but then our front quartet are still. You can see again from that camera angle just how everything is up and downhill, up the hill, down dale. They really are on a roller coaster around this Knockhill circuit. It really is on the side of a hill. If you've never been here, I encourage you to do so. It's absolutely fantastic. As we watch Thompson then still comfortably ahead of Senior as they go over the line. That doesn't look like there's anyone sort of pushing at the moment in this front quartet to try and make that position up. So they're all happy at the moment that they're in about the right speed order, and they're certainly growing the gap back, and they've still got 9 minutes, so no panics at the moment, but certainly they're with 4 drivers aiming for 3 podium spots. There's still a lot of action here to be had in the tail end of this race.
William Smith has got the fastest lap of the race now in 3rd place with a 52.683, but I think the safety car is coming out again.
Yeah, we're going slow again, aren't we? So Wes Payne, we saw, I think, lost him. Or was it Simmons again? I think it might have been Simmons again, judging by the timing screen.
He hasn't completed a lap, so he was out after the first start. 93 of Mike Evans has dropped to the tail of the timing screen, so we may have lost him somewhere.
He has a dark coloured car, so that maybe is the smoking gun then. Yeah, he'll be near the barrier there on the exit, so unfortunate for Mike there, getting caught up in a couple of incidents already. It's been a dramatic opening for him. There is Mike Evans. He's gone into the bank, and he has made contact with the barrier. He's looking a bit dejected down there, but they will extract his car out. But not a great start for his race weekend, is it? It's an unfortunate end to his race 1. But he will be back, looking to see what he can do in race 2 and 3 as they put the barriers back together for us, and then hopefully we can get at least a couple of action laps before the time runs out.
Yes, hopefully we can go back to green flag racing. We've got just under 8 minutes of the race to go. Mike Evans, the man from Birmingham, just lost it, I think, over the curbs there coming out of the chicane, got wide onto the gravel, and in he went. So we've lost a couple of cars, unfortunately, in this opening race of this very busy weekend. 6 races this afternoon, and another 9 in the opposite direction coming up here tomorrow. We start the action with the Caterham 7 UK Championship tomorrow at around 10:35 AM. Scheduled to be their first race at day 2 at Knockhill. We've got a total of 5 championships, with the Academy running in 2 groups, of course, the white group and the green group. We also have the Bilstein Caterham Roadsport Championship, the Motul 310Rs and the Mission Motorsport 270Rs here across the course of the weekend.
Yeah, great to have the whole Caterham ladder here back together again. The 7 Championship UK, they're a national championship, and they've been off racing with the touring cars and British GT. So this is the first time we've been all together again on circuit for a little while, and what a prospect to do. It's going this direction today, but tomorrow we'll be heading in a completely opposite direction around this circuit, and the prospect of dropping off of the edge of the cliff down through the chicane tomorrow. But yeah, these 7 Championship UK cars, it's a awesome if you're out on track, and you can see how much more purposeful those cars are. They are a dedicated race chassis. All the other championship levels, obviously you get more racy as you head up through the ladder, and when you get to the 310 it really is an awesome race car, but this is a step beyond again, and with the 2-litre Duratec in this edition of the Caterham, 6-speed sequential box, 180 horsepower, and the slick tyres with uprated suspension all round. You said earlier on how stiffly sprung these cars, and it absolutely is the case, and you can see how they were having to thread the needle up through the chicane and land the car in exactly the right place to get themselves off and fired through to their next round. As you said, it's Smith with that fastest lap, and fastest lap does equal a point on your championship total, so it is important when overtaking only gives you a single point for a place. It shows how important those fastest laps can be by the time we get to the tail end of the season.
Thanks to all your comments on the stream so far. We mentioned what a roller coaster Knockhill is. Carl Brownsell has messaged to say, I've cycled Knockhill, and yes, it is as steep as it looks.
Yeah.
Yes, Carl and his daughter Holly did a charity cycle around the UK circuits along with the British Truck Racing Championship over the last couple of years, raising plenty of money for the motor neurone disease campaign started by Doddy Weir, the Scottish rugby legend. Great to know that Carl and family are watching. Thanks to all the rest of you who have been in touch so far. So we've got 5 minutes left. Wait to see if the safety car is going to come in this time.
Light's not out this time, but it did look like they were fairly clear, so it just depends whether that barrier is all in the right place and facing the right direction. They will not go racing again until that barrier is as safe as it needs to be, but they will have plenty of time to put those lights out on the railway straight. In fact, I think they may well have gone out. So yep, we're dropping. Lewis Thompson takes over his safety car duties. Is he going to catch some snoozing like he did last time? Still big gaps in this field where they're running towards that green flag. They will want to close that up, but I think they've all learnt their lesson this time, and Harry Senior is certainly in a closer attendance.
Weaving to keep the tyres warm as we get ready for another restart. 12 cars still running. We've lost Evans and Simmons, of course, after the earlier incidents. Look how far back Lewis Thompson has dropped. He's doing a bit of Sebastian Vettel here on this restart, trying to anticipate it as best he can. So here they come then up towards the top straights. Power comes on, we're about to go green. Once again, the green light is already on, and away goes Lewis Thompson again. He's caught the rest of the field napping as away they go down towards Duffer Stip. We've got about 4, possibly 3 or 4 more laps to run up on the curb there. Paul Donkin in that 4th place. He leads the championship coming into this race on 272.5. He's 7 points clear of Lewis Thompson, with William Smith 3rd. Those 3 fairly well clear of the rest of the pack in the points.
Where Donkin, though, had a comfort gap behind himself in that 4th place, he's now going to have to be looking in his mirrors quite heavily, because Matt Armstrong is right back up there as we look for a move bit for McCormack, looking like he might make a move on Smith there at the back. With Will Smith, I think, making the best of that restart, but he's losing out in this secondary phase of that lap, and it's back to Harry Senior right on the tail of Lewis Thompson there, and William Smith having to defend heavily from Donkin, who now, let's say, has got much more attention focused forward, because he's got Matt Armstrong looking to see whether he can do anything.
First 2 starting to break away then. There's Armstrong, the blue and red car with the turquoise of Chris Fraser in behind him. Then there's a gap of 1.4 seconds near enough back to Justin Armstrong, who's come through nicely into 7th place. Wes Payne, Carl Jones and Matt Dyer completing the top 10. Carl Jones, incidentally, not to be confused with the late 80s British touring car driver. He used to race one of the Sierra Cosworth RS 500, still appears occasionally in historic racing. Lewis Thompson under fire now from Harry Senior. He has done the fastest lap of the race, 52.507, so he's getting a little more towards, only about 0.3 of a second off his qualifying pace here as they head up towards Clark's. He's having a look on the outside. They come down towards Taylor's turn. He was alongside going into Clark Curve, named after the legendary Jim Clark, of course. There's a bit of place swapping there in the pack as well.
Justin Armstrong again making some really good progress after his first lap issues, and it was Donkin looking to see whether he could do anything about Will Smith into Taylor's that time. He is right on Smith's tail there, looking to see whether he can do anything about it. Chris Fraser and Matt Armstrong are having that battle. There's Justin again making another position up. He's made about 3 positions up in a very short space of time. He's now up into 3rd place in that the AM category as we watch them all climb the hill once more. Donkin has broken clear of Matt Armstrong, so that gives him a bit more, but it's 2 by 2 by 2 at the moment for these front 6.
Still fairly dramatic skies over the home of Scottish motorsport, and Harry Senior getting into position. He's going to try and have a look to the inside. No, you don't, says Lewis Thompson. Moves to cover down towards Taylor's turn. He's going to hold the inside line for the tightest part of the course. This is allowing William Smith to close up a little, and Paul Donkin as well. It's 6 of them together now. Here's the group for 7th, headed up by Armstrong, ahead of Wes Payne, Jones, Dyer, Ollie Smith, McCormack at the tail of the fields. They go over the line, 2 laps to go by the look of things, 1 minute 21 as they cross the line. They're flying over the curbs there down Duffers Dip into the left at Leslie's, the right of McIntyre's. I didn't think we'd find a circuit steeper than the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, which I have walked a couple of laps of, but Knockhill is certainly up there with it.
It certainly is. We did see that time a wise head on Lewis Thompson's young shoulders there. He was cleverly defending around there. Obviously, as you've got a left-hand bend through this as they're coming up to it. Again, this left-hand bend means that you can kind of manoeuvre your car and argue that you haven't moved twice, and that's what he was kind of doing. You can see again, having to defend to the inside. Harry Senior really now using this last 40-odd seconds of this race. They will get across the line to finish, to start their last lap, but they're as close as you like with a 2x2x2 action, and then a little bit of a pregnant pause before Justin Armstrong heads this chase pack.
Yes, Will Smith rather through the block on Paul Donkin there, coming out of Taylor's turn. The leaders side by side, third and fourth place side by side. Thompson's got the inside line and holds the lead as they start the final lap. Will Smith has got Paul Donkin all over the back of him as they go through Leslie's and McIntyre's. The leaders through Butcher's, then up the hill, over the top at the chicane, using as much curb as they dare. Senior ran just a little bit wide onto the curb there, coming out of it, up towards the right-hander at Clark's. Then we've got the left flick at Hislops and the run along Railway Straight into Taylor's turn. Here they come onto Railway Straight now. Here's Harry Senior in position for a last corner lunge. He's trying. Thompson's going to make him go the long way round here, as he did the previous lap into the hairpin. There's 4 of them together now for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th places. Is Harry Senior going to get alongside Donkin, certainly alongside Smith, who again throws the block. The leaders up towards the checkered flag at this time. Is it going to be Senior? Is it going to be Thompson? They're going to finish side by side. Thompson just holds it. Who's going to be 3rd? It's Smith ahead of Donkin, and Armstrong just pips Fraser for 5th position. Cracking race.
Great race in what was an abbreviated format with a couple of safety cars there, but fitting in a lot of action in that, and you could see how the racing is going to develop. You could see Harry Senior to the outside of that Thompson, giving him the long route round, and he wasn't quite able to make it stick, whereas Donkin behind so nearly did. Like you say, Smith gave him a little bit of a chop at the end there just to make sure that he wasn't going to come through. Nearly cost him some time, but here's the provisional results.
Yes, Lewis Thompson beats Harry Senior by 0.114 of a second. That's quite a big margin in Caterham terms. 3rd place goes to William Smith, who was nearly 2.5 seconds further back. Then Paul Donkin, Matt Armstrong and Chris Fraser, a blanket finish for 4th, 5th and 6th. Senior wins the amateur category. 7th is Justin Armstrong, then Carl Jones, Wes Payne, Matt Dyer, Ollie Smith and Darren McCormack, the 12 finishers. We of course lost Mike Evans and Ben Simmons, and Harry Senior it was who got the fastest lap.
Great opening action there. Like I say, plenty of Caterham wall-to-wall action, and that's the top flight of Caterham Motorsport, and we'll hopefully get to hear from our drivers very shortly, and we'll catch up with them there. But yeah, don't go anywhere though, don't adjust your sets, because we've got Caterham Academy White Group quickly following on. It is going literally from one race to the next here.
Yes, the Caterham Academy is the other end of the Caterham scale. This is the novice racers. They're in 2 groups, green and white. It's all only open to drivers who've never had a racing licence, have no circuit racing experience. Waiting for the drivers to head into Parc Ferme very shortly. In fact, I can see them just heading past my commentary position now, and Sam Parker, our interviewer, will be there to greet them in just a moment.
There we go, a great first race for these guys. Obviously not ideal to have 2 safety cars, but it is a tricky circuit, and if you get one mistake, it can really impact your race and get you in the gravel. But look, these guys will be well happy with that. Harry Senior, obviously he came 2nd on the actual track, but because he's in the AM class, he won his, so it actually bumps up Paul Donkin to 3rd on the for the points. But I'll come and have a quick word with Lewis. Congratulations. I will quickly say, fastest lap, Harry, well done. Yeah, mega race, and Harry was right behind you on that last lap, wasn't he?
Yeah, he definitely kept me company. I mean, what a fantastic race Harry is. You know, it was giving each other just enough room. You know, he wasn't trying to wreck the cars, not putting the nose in a silly places. Top race. I really enjoyed that battle, and yeah, I'm really pleased to come out on top. It's just so nice to have a car that's good underneath me. We've struggled a lot this year, and it's now time to get them points back and keep moving. Let's keep this momentum going.
That's it, because championship points are all crucial now. We're over halfway through the season.
Yeah, I know. We're down now into we'll be the next last 8 races now. We're over halfway through, like you said, and you know we've won the last 3 in a row. So let's keep it going. But I'd like to say a big thank you to the team. You know, they've really not given up on this car and on me, and it's just so nice you're warm with that. That felt really like the first time I've had a race car which was good enough to win, and it's just I'm just so glad to have got it done, and yeah, big thanks to them, and thanks to the marshals as well, and all that. You know, couldn't be here without them. So thank you.
Thank you, Lewis. Well done. Will Smith has disappeared somewhere. There he is. He's over there. Thank you, Chris. Will, congratulations. So second, obviously it was third actually on the road, but second because of Harry being the AM. But well done. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really good race. Had to hold off from Paul at the end. It got a bit close, but no, great racing.
Yeah, well done. That was good.
Thank you.
Looking forward to later then, but no more of it?
Yeah, definitely a bit more of it. I was hoping to go a bit better, but didn't work out that time. So hopefully get a better start next time and take it to him.
Yeah, well done. Thank you. Right, I'll just go and have a quick word with Paul Donkin. Where's Paul gone? They all keep disappearing. Where's Paul? I can't find. Oh, there. No, I can't find Paul. So I'm going to speak to Harry, who is our winner of the AM class and second on. I mean, you know, second on the road, but you must have been really happy with that.
Yeah, brilliant pace. I mean, I think we me and Lewis dropped the others a little bit towards the end. Lewis was a bit faster than me in some sections. I was a bit faster than Lewis in others. Just difficult to overtake, so I couldn't quite go for the win. Although I've just been informed if I get another podium, I'm going to be a pro and not an AM anymore. So I'll be here instead.
You will be, on the overall, that's it.
Yeah, but it's not too bad, but whatever. It was
a good position to be in, though.
Yeah, great race. Shame cut short a little bit by all the safety cars. Spent most of the time just kind of tootling around behind Lewis, waiting for him to go. He got some good restarts as well. Caught me napping a couple of times, but was able to pull back, and then had to go into the last corner on the last lap, but couldn't quite get it done.
Well, you did very well. Well done. Thank you. Right, as we have a little. Is it back on? I'm back. My microphone keeps falling apart. Hello, Chris. Well done. It's working. Fantastic. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, a bit disappointed. I thought I could have got further up, but I sort of got stuck behind Matt and we started scrapping, and then the front guys just got away. And then on each of those safety car restarts, I just didn't have enough to sort of power lunge. But we've got 2 more races. My preferred way round now. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Have some fun tomorrow.
That's it. Enjoy. Well, enjoy. Yes, I'll be watching. Thank you. Right, I'll hand back to Chris and David for now.
Yeah, so starting on the front row
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Sam. As we get ready for, the other end of the Caterham Motorsports ladder. Next up, it is the Caterham Academy Championship, the white group with their clockwise race. Qualifying took place earlier this morning, and all these drivers are on a level playing field. They're all novices. We should have 20 drivers on our next grid for a 20-minute race. Then we have the Bilstein Caterham Roadsport Championship, which is the next rung on the ladder. We then move a little bit further up the Motul Caterham 7310Rs. Then the other group for the Academy, the green group, of course, green and white, the corporate colours of Caterham. And then the Mission Motorsport Caterham 270R Championship rounds off the day. Just looking at the point standings for the Caterham Academy white group, it is Paul Oglesby who leads the way. He won the season opening sprint events because before they go circuit racing, these novices, they have a sprint against the clock. That's at Kerborough in Staffordshire, not far from my part of the world in Lichfield. It was Paul Oglesby who won that. He then finished second to Cal Short in the first 2 races at Croft and Silverstone. Then it was David Hall who won at Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire. So it's a double-header here at Knockhill, the only double-header for the Academy of the season, of course, with the 2 circuit layouts being used. Then they go to Brands Hatch and finally to Donington. Brands Hatch at the end of August, beginning of September across the course of that weekend. Then it's Donington in October. and also you get additional points for marshalling at an event.
Yeah, exactly that, and we encourage all of our drivers to do that, so you get extra points in your championship, which means if you're in that fight for the championship, you certainly want to get on those banks, and it's really good eye-opener for our drivers to understand what the marshals are doing out there and how we all think we're the stars of our own show as we're driving around, but when you're a marshal, you understand how complicated these situations and why don't you see everything that happens on track? Well, it's because there's lots of stuff going on track all the time. But as you said, these are new drivers in this year, all absolutely have never held a race license or a karting license before. We've already had the beginning part of the season, which means they've had their first races. Now they're getting settled into the idea of racing and what it means to go racing as a race driver. And this weekend we're throwing two things at them. One is having two races per, in the single weekend, so that's something new for them. And then, as I say, just the curveball of running in both directions over the course of these 2 days, and a very unique challenge that. So they've had to learn the track in both directions over the course of testing, but they all look like they're ready for that challenge. And Oglesby and Cal Short have definitely had the speed in the early part of this season, and they've sort of shared the fastest laps between themselves as well. But David Hall there and Scott Helm, Luciano Caruso also looking like they're interested in seeing what they can do as well. As we just tidy up this Knockhill circuit, this 1.3 miles around this Knockhill, and lap record for interest is just into the 59s for the clockwise direction for these academy drivers. Let's see whether they get anywhere near. With wind direction, it can be really variable around the Knockhill circuit, and the wind is certainly gusting away up the pit straight, with it sort of as a tailwind for them. It's headwind as they head into this hairpin that we're looking at now, the Taylor's hairpin. But yeah, the drivers are all looking forward to it, and every weekend for them at the moment is a new challenge and a new experience.
It certainly is, yes, all about learning to be a racing driver, but most of the drivers choose to stick with Caterham. You can upgrade your academy car, of course, into a Roadsport or a 270R and go through the ladder with the same car. Yep, so this is the car that you buy as the academy car. It's a package that Caterham offer. Head to caterhamcars.com if you want all the information on what that package is, but it's a full season's racing. You buy a car and you get a full season's racing thrown in, so it's a no-brainer as far as if you're looking to get into motorsport and never done it before. It's a really well-respected and well-developed hand-holding situation through the ins and outs of what it means to become a motor racing driver, and over the years we've put well over 1,000 drivers through that process and made their dreams come true to become a racing driver, including myself back in 2013. So we do tend to stick around, and as you say, at the end of your academy season, it's not over. You can use that same car for the next 4 seasons or the next 3 seasons, and ongoing beyond that as well, just by upgrading your car at the end of the year. So as you say, academy moves into Roadsport by strapping on the Toyo AAAR tyres. And having a rear anti-roll bar is all the 2 changes, but suddenly that means you're going 1 second to 2 seconds per lap quicker. And then beyond the Roadsport, we strap on some wider track suspension, we remove the lights and windscreens to turn it into a race car, and off they go to 270 and then 310 beyond that. But this is how they got on in qualifying then this morning. It is the championship leader, Paul Oglesby, the 43-year-old who set the pole time, 1 minute, 0.17 seconds, alongside Cal Short in the number 97. Second row, 23, David Hall, and 42, Scott Helm. Those 4 echoing their top 4 places in the championship. Then the Harrises, William, number 14, and 96, Charles on row 3. 88, Luciano Caruso. That's a proper racing driver name, isn't it? On row 4, alongside Nick Sampson in the number 15. Completing the top 10, Alistair Morton, number 12, and Craig Evans in the 86. Row 6 of the grid is number 6, Tim Hardcastle, alongside 71, Richard Haig. 2, Charles Chapman, alongside Chris Buck in the 36 on row 7. Row 8, 22, William Coop, and 69, Eduardo Pontes. Row 9 is Steve Harris, number 5, and Greg Vandergast, number 92. And the final row of the grid, Zina Al-Jalili, number 26, and 32, Ivan Searle. 25 drivers in total have competed in the white group of the Caterham Academy so far in 2024. I believe they had a combined race as well earlier this season, didn't they? So at Silverstone, it was such a large capacity of the grid that they did combine the 2 grids together, and they'll get to do that again at the end of the season in what we call the Autumn Trophy race. But the Academy White and Academy Green are completely separate championships. They are all scoring points independently, so whilst they're all on the same grid at Silverstone, they actually scored completely independent points, depending on whether they were the green or the white group.
So you can see them heading up their Academy cars. And just to finish off our story of upgrades, we've got to 270. Then the last year of upgrades with your Academy car is to get into the 310R Championship, where you've got more power, more speed, a limited slip differential, and a few more revs as well to play with, and it turns into an incredibly capable car. And all these Caterhams are all based on road models. We're not doing anything different in motorsport. All the parts and all the components are exactly the same. We strap on all the stuff you need, like roll cages and fire extinguishers plumbed in to make them all race compatible, but these are all road based on road cars, and they run on road. You know, it doesn't take much to convert a 310 back to being road legal. The Academy and the Roadsport absolutely are 100% road legal with number plates, and you can literally drive to our race meetings, race ferociously over the weekend, and then drive home.
Yeah, it's not many drivers, possibly for safety reasons, choose to drive to and from the circuit. It's used to be quite commonplace in club racing. There's only 1 or 2 drivers do it now. 1 or 2 of the Caterham drivers do it. I know historic saloon racer Tim Dodwell does with his Mini that he's owned since the 60s, and 1 or 2 in vintage car racing do as well. So pole position it is the 43-year-old Paul Oglesby from Kimbolton in Cambridgeshire, famous for its kart circuit, and also Kimbolton Castle, I believe, was a venue for sprints on its grounds in years gone by as well. So
I'll defer to your knowledge in these things.
Steeped in motorsport history.
But yeah, so Oglesby and Cowshort have definitely been the class of the field, and they've pushed it to first and second on the grid today as well. They've kind of been sharing those race wins and fastest laps, and really there's not much between them. The only thing between them is that Cowshort picked up a contact penalty at I think it was Cadwell Park. However, by doing another marshalling day on top of the kind of 10-point marshalling day, he may be able to reduce that penalty or remove it. So it's another facility we have in the Academy to really make sure that drivers are knowing what they've got to do. But we have a green flag lap, I think, still to go then.
Awaiting signals from our marshals then before we get this race underway.
So you can tell it's difference between the green flag lap. So they had a kind of initial lap that we call it a formation lap to put them on their grids. We will be having a green flag lap, so they get a minute signal, a 30-second signal, then a green flag to signify the start of that green flag lap. They will then reform back up on the grid. We'll get the 5-second board. It'll be look at the gantry. The lights will go on, and then as the lights go out, their race will be underway. They have a 20-minute race for this. They will have, say for the first time, I can say the first of 2 races for them this weekend, and 20 minutes of action. We had a little bit of a sort of few red flags in testing and in qualifying, where the gravel traps come and snatch you quite quickly around this Knockhill circuit. So hopefully, and we saw it even with the top flight, didn't we, that it gets pretty. I think that's going to be the 30-second board. You can see the marshal there. And on behalf of all the drivers, I will take this opportunity to say thank you ever so much to the Orange Army out there. I know all the drivers absolutely appreciate what they do, and it's up to me that I can hand that thanks on to everyone out there who lets us do what we love to do.
Very well said indeed. We await this green flag lap to get underway. I can see 1 or 2 marshals down there at the back of the grid. So has somebody had a problem perhaps? We can't quite see from this angle.
It can take a while just to get 24, 26 cars all lined up, and especially as they're looking for their grid spots. There's bike markings here, so they are giving another signal there, so it looks like we will be getting going fairly shortly. But they've got the bike markings as well as the car sort of grids, so it does get a little bit complicated with white lines, and the marshals do make sure they all start in the right place. They've also got a hill to deal with. At the back of the grid, it is quite steeply uphill, so that's something new for them to work out. How do I get a car off of the line without dropping backwards off of my grid spot?
Bit tricky to see the start lights from down there as well.
There's a repeater, I believe, start light. That looks like that was a 5-second board, so we're going to have a green flag. So there we go, off on our green flag lap there.
Yeah, just a slight delay there, possibly a car with 1 or 2 issues towards the back of this grid. We can see marshals still on the grid down there, but now the field is underway to get some heat into their tyres.
Yeah, and they'll get to see the track conditions, see where the dust is, see whether everything is as they remember it from qualifying this morning. First opportunity for them just to see where all the marshals are again. And like I say, we've obviously had a couple of incidents out there on track already, so gravel might be on the track, all sorts. The circuit do a great job of sweeping away all that gravel before them start the next one. But just generally speaking, as the race weekend goes on, the track does have some some interesting additions, shall we say, as time goes on. But You can see them all kind of taking a straight line through the chicane. I guess they're just trying to weave a little bit. They will be trying to not so much get heat into their tyres, but make sure the tyres have got a clean surface ready for that. But one thing they will try and do is get some heat into the brake pads, which is going to be important going down into Duffer's Dip. We saw some incident in race 1 where cars just didn't seem to stop, and that can be equally because this is such an abbreviated course that getting heat into your tyres and into your brake pads, most importantly, is not easy.
The Harris is easy cars to pick out there. Will Harris has the bright green nose on his car, and Charles Harris, number 96, is the car that's in the old Team Lotus colours, the British Racing green and yellow, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think there's another Harris in the reverse colours of that as well, so watch out for all those 3 Harrises out there. It's a popular name on our grid, and as the large field, so we saw 14 for the top flight of Caterham Motorsport, but there are 20, I think there's 26 cars out there today, and such is the popularity that this is only one half of the overall grid.
20 cars on this grid.
There
It'll
we
be a
go.
20-minute race. Just waiting for the last few cars to make their way out of Taylor's turn and up to the grid. The green car of Paul Oglesby in pole position, the championship leader. Cal Short in the white and red car with the red roll cage alongside. Scott Helm there, number 42, maybe looking to get the launch down the outside towards Duffer's Dip, alongside David Hall in the 23. Then the 2 Harrises. Luciano Caruso, 5th in the points, is back in 7th on the grid. Behind him in the points, Alistair Morton lines up on the 5th throwing car, number 12. So waiting for the 5-second board to be displayed then. There it is. The next 5 seconds, the red lights will come on. It's time for the white group for the Caterham Academy Championship here at Knockhill. Their first of 2 races this weekend gets underway and down towards the first corner at Duffer's Dip. Good start from Scott Helm on the outside of the second row. They're all away cleanly, but not the best of starts for our pole sitter. Paul Oglesby's been well and truly swallowed up, and it's the man from the outside of the front row, Cal Short, who takes the lead. We've got cars everywhere at the back into the gravel. 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody leaping over the grass there like a rally car. One car stuck in the gravel, so that may well be a safety car. Somebody running wide further forward. We'll try and identify who that is in a moment. Great start by Charles Harris from row 3. I think he's up into 2nd place.
Yeah, it was absolutely sort of bogged down. Oglesby he seemed to get off the line okay initially, so it must be on the gear change. He's just snatched a gear. Their car has managed to extract themselves from the gravel, so we might get away with no safety car though. That's the Rothman's coloured car, isn't it? It's the 88 there.
Yeah, that's Luciano Caruso. So the man 5th in the points is the man who's ended up in the gravel, the Rothman's Porsche lookalike machine. So he's got it going again, so we will continue under green. We'll find out where our pole sitter and championship leader Paul Oglesby comes through at the end of lap 1. He's down to 5th because it's Cal Short who leads across the line. Charles Harris 2nd, Will Harris is 3rd, and then it is David Hall, but Harris side by side with him. There is the black, orange and white, number 97 of Cal Short, the man from Bristol who leads. The Team Lotus liveried car of Charles Harris in 2nd, Will Harris holding 3rd. Oglesby sideways through McIntyre's chasing the black and white car of David Hall in 4th.
He's already come across quite a big gap to get to that position though. He's got a lot of speed in that car, clearly has, because he put it up on the 2nd place, pole position on the grid, and also had the speed all through the season. So he's caught across that gap very quickly and is looking like he really wants to get past everyone in one corner, but it's not possible around Knockhill to do that, so he will have to pick them off one by one. Harris is next up on his shopping list, then he's going to look down the inside. So that Hall, he's done the inside of it as he heads into the Taylors. It does look like he's got the inside manoeuvre, but Hall has the momentum around the outside and protects that lead. But he was looking the first time to see whether he could get it stuck, and it looks like he's going to have to go back to the drawing board.
The other car that went right on the first corner was Scott Helm from the 2nd row. He went across the grass. He's now at the tail of the field in 19th place. New fastest lap of the race, Paul Oglesby, our pole sitter. He's got back up to speed, 1 minute 1.187. He's on the tail end of this group. The Harrises have swapped places. Will's up into 2nd place. David Hall holding 4th on the inside. There's Oglesby behind him. Then a small gap back to the red car, which is the number 15 of Nick Sampson. 7th behind him is Craig Evans. Then we've got the 36, which is Chris Buck. 22 of William Coop, and 6 of Tim Hardcastle rounding out the top 10.
Hall going ultra defensive and drifting wide that time. That's going to give Oglesby the inside for Taylors. So I think Oglesby has made that position up. Hall had to go so ultra defensive into Clark's that he was lost all that momentum. So now Oglesby looking to see who's next on his lick. Is he going to make it 2 cars in 2 corners? He is indeed. He goes down the inside of Harrison. Looks like he might have got that stuck as he go up to slightly less steep right side of this circuit. So I think we'll see Oglesby coming across in 3rd place.
Over the line goes the leader, Cal Short, with Will Harris second. Charlie Harris trying to hold on around the outside. He had his nose in front at the line, but Oglesby got the inside line for Duffer Stip. He's going to go through, surely, up the inside. He's done so, up into P3. David Hall just trying to hang on behind them. Oglesby's really throwing his car around this Knockhill circuit. He's angry after that fluffed start earlier on, I think.
He can see his championship rival disappearing off up the road in a nice comfortable lead. So again, they'll have to be a little bit careful about track limits there on the exit of the chicane. Oglesby looking to see if he can do anything about the other Harris out in front of him now. But even if he gets past there, he's got a lot of work to do to try and catch down Cal Short, who has got a nice 2.5 second of the last lap time through. And Oglesby looking to see whether he can do it. He is going rapid around this circuit. You can, as you say, you can read the attitude of the driver. Can he make it round all the way around the outside? No, but he is going to look to see whether he can get the tuck under and get the speed up, start finish straight this time. But you can certainly read the anger in that car, and he really does want to move on forward.
David Hall was trying to do the same thing there to Charles Harris for 4th position as well. A little bit more place swapping we see further down the order. Leaders are up at the start-finish line. 4 laps completed. Oglesby's done another new fastest lap. 1 minute, 0.829 at the line.
One thing we didn't have to deal with in the 7 Championship UK cars was a deal with back markers. We watch Buck there just going ahead of Evans, I think, around that kind of region. But yeah, they didn't have to deal with back markers. They may well have to deal with back markers by the tail end of this race. 20 minutes, and the speeds are spread out a bit more in the academy as the drivers all learning how to carry that speed. Is Oglesby up front? No, I think he is still chasing. No, he is. So Oglesby is now in that 2nd position. So we missed that swap, and Oglesby is in 2nd place, looking to see whether he can chase across the gap. And it will be up to Harris to see whether he can cling on to the coattails as we watch the other Harris and Hall having a little dice into Taylors that time.
Yes, Charles Harris, that was having a go on the inside for 4th position. Cal Short still leads. He's 3 seconds up. That's an eternity in Caterham terms, and he's responded to Oglesby's pace as well. Oglesby did a personal best, 1 minute, 0.797. Short did a 1 minute, 0.793. So they're lapping on the same pace now, the 2 championship pace setters. Nick Sampson there in 6th position, the red car, nearly 3 seconds clear of the 86 of Craig Evans, who's next through. There is the number 86. Evans, who comes from Milton Keynes, in a safe P7. He's well ahead of Buck in the number 36 by over 3 seconds as well. There is the 36 of Buck. He gets a bit tail happy. That car's been tail happy all the way through this race, through the chicane there. He's got number 6 of Tim Hardcastle on his tail at the inside line at Clark Curve, and through he goes to take 8th place away. And somebody in a bit of strife there. Pick up the number on that as it comes through. Who's that slowing down? Is it the number 12? No, 32, which is Ivan Searle.
Yeah, definitely not up to speed, Ivan Searle. Hardcastle's had a podium, so he's not up to his high standards at the moment. And let's see whether that gap to Oglesby is starting to come down. It was 2.8 seconds this time through, and let's see whether over the course of the next few laps that diminishes, and whether he is going to have a chance to catch up short by the end of 13 minutes that they've still got remaining. And like I say, back markers will come into effect, I think, before the end of this race. In fact, you can see their car is in front of Carl Schott already. I wonder whether that was the slow-moving Searle there. It is. So he's got some issue that he'll be taking back to the pits, and Carl Schott should be able to get past him without too many issues.
Towards Taylors they come. The leaders got past. Yes, Ivan Searle pulls to a stop there on the right-hand side of the railway straight to let the quicker runners through. Oglesby still second. Now the gap was 2.845 seconds. Oglesby set a new fastest lap last time through a 1 minute 0.572. Not sure if Ivan Searle's even going to make it back to the pit too. He's crawling down into Taylor's turn, and the gap has come down because another new fastest lap for Oglesby. 1 minute 0.457 now. 2.1 seconds
so
is the gap.
0.7 of a second gained back in just a single lap, and more importantly, he's going to soon be in the range where the tow will start pulling him forward. If you're new to Caterham action, we haven't really spoken about the tow round here yet, but following another car, you gain potentially up to 5-6 miles an hour, maybe even more in the headwind at the end of any long straight, and even sort of pulling around some corners depending on the gearing. Oglesby's got the rear hanging out of that car. That's not a quick way around that bend. He has to drift wide once more. He really is pushing, absolutely trying to get everything out of this Caterham Academy car.
He needs to change his setup, I think, because that car's been sliding about all race long. William Harris is in 3rd place, David Hall 4th, and Charles Harris 5th, so there hasn't been a change there for the last couple of laps. They're over 3 seconds clear of Nick Sampson in P6 in the number 15 car. Climb out of Taylor's Turn and up towards the top of the hill once again. The leader's gone over the line to complete his 8th lap, and the gap has in fact increased just a little bit that time through. It's up to 2.248 seconds that time through, so Short responding to the pressure from Paul Oglesby. There's Charles Harris in that 5th position. William Harris coming under fire from David Hall.
Short can't afford to make any mistakes, though. He will get affected. A bit of gravel there kicked up by Oglesby. He's really pushing as hard as he can, maximising every little bit of track to see what he can do. There's no rear anti-roll bar in this Academy car, which is why the rear of the car does tend to flop around a little bit compared to the other race cars you're seeing, and Oglesby is really trying to balance that up through Clark's. It's all off camber as you go head up, and every time you touch a curb or move out wide, it sort of tends to turn these cars even more. The road going sort of basic standard road tyres really on these Academy cars, nothing special, and they do tend to squeal and complain in the corners. But Oglesby, I think maybe like you say last time through, just over pushing, meaning that he's lost a bit of time. And does he drop back a bit further? Yep, the difference now is 4 seconds, so he's actually losing time to Cal Short as he's trying to push too hard.
Battle going on behind him, and David Hall I think has got round the outside there in the 3rd. Indeed he has. He's got ahead of William Harris on the top straights as they drop down into Duffer Stip once again. He doesn't want to run wide there on the exit of the right-hander and McIntyre as he holds the place up in 3rd as they come over the chicane once again. William Harris down to 4th, Charles Harris behind them in 5th position. The other Harris, Steve Harris, is in 17th place at the moment in the number 5 car.
Going to continue to see whether we can do anything about this lead group. Here is that Buck and Hardcastle battle, with Buck now behind Hardcastle, and it looks like Helm is ready to join that battle as well as they head up into Clarkson. Look how off camber it is. You can see how they have to kind of climb up and to the right as they head around Clarkson, and their Helm hanging his rear of his car out there as well for good measure. The number 6 car of Hardcastle is now out in front. He's having to defend back to Buck though, who's looking round the outside. We've not seen that outside line completely work. He's trying hard to get it done, but it's not going to work. Hardcastle will be able to chop across as they head through Taylor's once more at the halfway point then of this race.
Good recovery by Scott Helm, who's just gone ahead of the 36 of Chris Buck, back up into 9th place. Of course, he tangled with Luciano Caruso on the first corner and dropped to the back of the field. The black and white flag has been shown to car number 2. That's Charles Chapman further back in the pack in P15. That's the warning flag for driving standards. I would suspect that's for exceeding track limits. So that's just a warning for doing it on a couple of occasions, as we see Nick Sampson sliding wide there. If he does that again, Charles Chapman, he could risk a time penalty.
That's right. The first time you go off of the grey stuff and off the edge of the circuit, then you get a noted. The second time you get given a black and white flag to say you have been noted twice for track limits. Indeed, on our screen you can see that black and white being presented, and the little board they hold below has got the race number that it's being applied to. And then if you do it for a 3rd time, then you will start getting penalties, and it starts with a 5-second penalty, and you can see how many Caterhams you could fit in a 5-second gap, and so it can be quite a severe penalty. If you continue to do it after that, 10 seconds, and then beyond that we get into the realms of stop-go penalties as you get called, and as you're bouncing Oglesby there over the chicane. See how you've got to really thread that needle, and
Charles Harris pushing a bit too hard there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. They've slightly reprofiled the curbing here at Knockhill, and the red sausage curbs that you're seeing there they're much more severe. The actual blue and white curbing you can see is slightly less ramped. But yeah, you want to avoid that red curbing because it's in a Caterham, it's probably halfway up your wheels.
Someone say sausages. But anyway, 12 laps completed by our leader. Paul Oglesby has set a new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute, 0.36, so he's only a tenth or so off his qualifying time, I think. Having a look at the sheet from the qualifying session this morning. Yeah, 1 minute, 0.17 was his quickest time. And Oglesby over the grass, as I say. I'd rather put the curse of the commentator on him there. Coming out of Duffer's Dip over the grass. He's held that second place but lost quite a bit of momentum.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got a back marker now between him and the car in front, so he'll see whether he can get past Al Jalil and see they head up then into Chapman. He is going to get through, but that's I think that's going to be race over for him, isn't it? He was back to 2.7 behind last time over the line. He is just trying that little bit too hard, and more haste, less speed, as they say in this occasion, but I can't blame him for trying, and he'll have another attempt at it, I'm sure, tomorrow, and Carl will be there. He's certainly limiting his damage with being in second place and having the fastest lap. Means there's only 1 point swing towards Carl Short, and at the moment that's going to leave him comfortably in the lead, depending on whether Carl's penalty does get removed by the end of the year.
And nearly 4 seconds in it now as they cross the line. Yes, Oglesby's last lap of 1 minute 2, so he lost a couple of seconds there with that slide over the grass. But he's still got 6.5 minutes of this race to go to try and make up that little bit of lost ground. David Hall still third ahead of William and Charles Harris. Sampson 6th, Evans 7th. Scott Helm is now up to P8 from the back of the field. He's got ahead of the 36 of Chris Buck, and rounding up the top 10 is Tim Hardcastle in the number 6 car. Just the one retirement so far, Ivan Searle, who pulled into the pits.
Yeah, and Oglesby now having to check his rear mirrors because it's Hall who's very much in his slipstream now, getting dragged along the railway straight round his lops and into Taylor's this time through. But you can see that they can't even see Short as they're heading up the tail end of that. And good job by Short. He's just been consistently pumping in the laps, deflecting the pressure from behind, and just carrying on his merry way out in the lead.
Over the line he comes then. 14 laps completed now by our leaders. Last lap for Oglesby was 1 minute 0.679, apologies. Short did a 1 minute 1.2, so the gap has come down a little once again. It's 3.4 seconds now, and again Oglesby is sideways. He's power sliding. That's number 18, Caterham 7, around this Knockhill circuit. Looks spectacular, doesn't help your lap times.
It doesn't, no, and he is going to have to be looking in his rearview mirrors. He's got to settle it all a little bit down. And so Cal is just so tentative. It's like dangling a carrot just out there, but there's nothing he can do. Every time he tries to push harder, his tyres are saying, no, you've already asked for the maximum, and there is no more to give, and therefore I shall slide over the circuit. And as you say, that unfortunately means that you'll end up going slower, but it is Hall looking threatening in that third place at the moment. In fact, goes down the inside as Oglesby locks up once more. Hall goes alongside him as they head up through the start-finish straight this time through. And are we going to see Hall ahead? Another black and white flag being thrown there to a couple more cars. It does look like Oglesby managed to hold on as they went up the hill that time, but that's worrying signs for Oglesby.
Goodness knows how. That was a great opportunist bit of driving by David Hall on his local circuit, the man from Ayrshire in Scotland, all over the back of Paul Oglesby, the Cambridgeshire driver. Now it's Hall getting sideways coming out of McIntyre's. He wants that second place. The black and white flag went out to car number 22, William Coop, incidentally, that we saw there. So possibly a track limits warning. It's the driving standards flag is the official title, but we assume it's for track limits. But anyway, William Harris giving chase, the man from Northampton, in that second place. He gets a bit sideways over the curve coming out of Clark's into the left flick at Hislops, and down railway straight towards the hairpin. Taylor's turn. See if there's going to be any challenges made this time through. Is David Hall going to try and lunge up the inside? No, this time Oglesby's got the tighter line and able to hold that second place. And of course now he's having to defend from David Hall. This is the opportunity Cal Short needs to make a break.
Yeah, absolutely. Cal Short will be happy to see this in the background. Oglesby having to go super defensive then into Duffer's Dip this time. Hall not having a position there to take as we watch those back markers just... Oh, we got a spinner in front of them as well. That's the number 2 car of Charles Chapman. So he spun. I saw him do that in testing or qualifying this morning. So not getting on with Duffer's Dip as he heads down there. It's, as soon as you get that car sideways, it really is easy to lose the rear, and perfectly demonstrated there, unfortunately, by our drivers.
I was just about to say, Cal Short making a break might be compromised by back markers here, and indeed the gap closed by half a second on the last lap. 3 minutes of the race to go, though. There's 2.8 seconds in it between the two leaders. Here is Scott Helm, who's made up another place. He's got ahead of Craig Evans up into P7, so watch for him in the reverse direction race tomorrow. He's made it nicely back through the field. Here's a battle a little bit further back. That is the 36 of Chris Buck holding off that very brightly coloured number 6 of Tim Hardcastle.
Yeah, Buck back in front then of Hardcastle, so as Helm came through and passed them, obviously Buck managing to get back in front of Hardcastle. As we look at this battle then for second place in the grid, Hall absolutely knows to tell. You can bet your bottom dollar he's got friends and family here all watching to see whether he can get that second place, and they'll all be cheering from the banks. Hall again a little bit wide round McIntyre's that time, so losing a little bit of time, but he is absolutely the one threatening with positions as Ogilvie again maximises every single inch of the track as he heads up through the chicane that time.
So just over 2 minutes to go, a couple more laps then I think of this Knockhill circuit, possibly going into the last lap this time. These cars of course a few seconds a lap slower than the Caterham 7 UK Championship that we saw earlier on. There's number 5, that's the other Harris car. He said the car with the reverse livery of Charles Harris. He's a lap down now as David Hall again tries a move going into Taylor's. He was on the outside this time through though. We'll get 2 more laps out of this I think, because Cal Short has already gone through. Over the line they come.
Yeah, they're just over the 1 minute mark, aren't they, for these lap times as we watch Oglesby deal with some of the back markers. Was that that wasn't Hall ahead of Oglesby, was it? Just catching maybe it was a back marker. It was a back marker. Hall is still very much behind Oglesby as they go down the inside. In fact, Hall gets caught up with the 92 car of Van der Gast there, and there was contact there between that was Harris, wasn't it, getting contact as he tried to make his way through and still hasn't got past Van der Gast yet.
Greg Van der Gast, they met him in the worst possible place there. He didn't have anywhere to go to get out of the way coming up towards the chicane. That's delayed William Harris. That was not Greg Van der Gast's fault though. There just wasn't space on the track for him to get out of the way there.
Yeah, like, as you say, just catching in exactly the wrong place, and it's difficult for both drivers in that situation. Like you say, just a bit of contact as that happens, that will be looked at by the stewards afterwards, or the clerk, just to check that all through. But it is still Cal Short, still only that 2 seconds in front of Oglesby though, so he's still dangling out there, the carrot. But we are going then on to the final lap of this Caterham Academy. We've got spin from the Rothmans car of 88, and that's
Caruso again.
Yeah, Caruso has had an eventful race, hasn't he? As he just avoids the spinning car of in fact, that's our lead group now coming through.
Somebody else has gone off there as well. Try and identify that in a moment. I think that was another back marker though that had spun there. I don't think it was. No, it wasn't David Hall. There he is, the 23, still in third place. Oglesby safe in second, and it's looking good for Cal Short.
Yeah, looking like Cal Short's got that gap, but had Oglesby just tidied up his lines, I get that feeling he would have been able to catch up with Cal Short, but Cal Short managed the situation perfectly, put the pressure on when he needed to, made Oglesby make the mistakes by pushing on, and Hall, last of the late breakers, can he do anything into the chicane? He has been very late, he's very late. Oh, that's very tight as they go into Taylor's that time through. He's been ever so late on the brakes, managed to get it all stopped up, but it is going to be Cal Short over the line first.
He won at Croft, he won at Silverstone, win number 3 of the season in the Caterham Academy White Group 4. Cal Short from Bristol in car number 97 comes home ahead of Paul Oglesby, the championship leader, by 2.3 seconds. David Hall gets third place, and chopping and changing almost between those two. Fourth goes to William Harris. Charles Harris comes over to complete the top 5. An eventful race there. We'll have 12 cars finish on the lead lap provisionally as the rest of the runners take that checkered flag. Just the one retirement there we mentioned, that was Ivan Searle. Bad luck to the number 32. Had to pull into the pits after just a few laps. It's at the end of lap 6 he retired. We'll confirm the provisional results in just a moment as the last couple of cars come over to take the checkered flag. That's Cal Short's third win of the season. That will help him try and close that gap on Paul Oglesby.
Yeah, I think if we do get rid of those championship penalty points, then he may well be now just maybe in the lead of that championship. So one to keep an eye out for. Great to see the development of these drivers as they start out as absolute novices at the beginning of the year. But here's confirmation then of the provisional result.
2.3 seconds the winning margin for Cal Short over Paul Oglesby, with David Hall in third place, mirroring his place in the championship. Then the Harrises, Nick Sampson in 6th. Scott Helm, good recovery through after that first corner tangle up into 7th position. Craig Evans, Chris Buck and Tim Hardcastle. Great battle between the last two named there in 9th and 10th. Richard Haig was 11th ahead of Alistair Morden, then Eduardo Pontes. Luciano Caruso, despite a couple of spins, takes 14th place ahead of Greg Van der Gast. Then behind him was William Coop, then Steve Harris, Charles Chapman after his spin, and Zina Al-Jalili rounding out the 19 finishers. Paul Oglesby got the fastest lap, 1 minute, 0.36 seconds. Cars are heading past our commentary box into Parc Fermé, so shortly it'll be down to Sam Parker to have a word with them.
Loved watching that. It was quite eventful, wasn't it? You know, some people didn't come off too well, but fantastic driving from these top three. Absolutely all over the, you know, sliding, but made it stick. And yeah, it was very impressive driving from these guys. So I will come and speak to Cal as soon as he's got his helmet off. It's going to be hard work, isn't it? Sorry, Cal.
I'm not sure I'm in the mood to talk to you.
Oh. He doesn't want to talk to me.
You skipped me at Silverstone.
I did what?
You skipped me at Silverstone.
I couldn't find you at Silverstone. So this is a well-deserved interview now. But yeah, what a race. Your start was incredible.
Thank you, yeah. I was a bit worried about the start because I thought it'd be on a hill.
Yeah.
But the front row was actually quite flat. So I got a fairly decent launch and didn't need to mess about on the brakes or anything. And then I was just keeping my eye on the rear view mirror, seeing if anyone was catching up and trying not to make any mistakes or take too many risks. But I'm glad it went well, because there was a few times when I hit back markers and I thought, oh god, what's going to happen here? You know, is it going to slow me down loads? But I think I was fairly fortunate with it for the most part.
No, that was a brilliant race. Well done, well deserved. Let's have a word with Paul. Paul, what a race! Goodness me, I mean, you were really pushing that car, weren't you, to make it, you know, try and get back up.
For some reason, I've never done it before. I went from, instead of going from third to fourth, from second to third. I went second to fifth. So I didn't move off the line, and then I just thought, right, I need to give it everything to try and get back.
And you certainly did that. We saw your car sliding around, but you held on to it and you drove a blinder.
Yeah, I did close up and then made a mistake in turn 3, which cost me, and then I thought, right, let's just calm down.
The red mist can come over us, can't it?
I know, yeah. It was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm pleased I finished second.
Yeah, it was very good. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll have a word with David, our local man. Well done. You did a great race as well. And
yeah, it was a bad start, but to be honest, it was just getting past those Harris boys was pretty difficult, and then keeping them at bay. But I thought I'd step behind Paul for a while and then see if he'd make a mistake. So I saw him go off a few times, but luckily he didn't. But then, yeah, last corner I went for a lunge, but it just might not have been possible.
When he went off at turn 3, you must have thought, oh, hello, because that closed the gap for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I've done it a few times in practices, so I was pretty used to it. But yeah, no, and then passing back markers, I was skipped it from around going into third, I went into fourth, and then so that's what actually got me a bit of distance from the Harris boys as well. So that was a good race. So yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, you get another one this weekend. It's great.
Brilliant. Right, thank you.
Well done. There we go. Good race for those guys. So now we have the Bilstein Roadsport Championship. I'll hand back to Chris and David.
Yes, thank you very much, Sam. It is time for race 3 of the weekend, the Bilstein Suspension Caterham Roadsport Championship. This is the second rung on the Caterham ladder. Nearly all of these drivers making the move up from the academy last season. And 2 drivers have dominated this championship so far this year. Paul Goldstein and Jono Emery have done just about all the winning between them. I think the only other man that's taken a win was last time out at Cadwell Park when Adam Keane was on top of the podium.
Yeah, it's been very much the top 2 there, sort of heading there, but Keane showing that he's got the business, and he's been right there on the podium all the way through the season as well. They've all shared the fastest laps between the 3 of them, and also Monty Hind getting one and Nick Hyton as well. So really are sharing the speed out, and the Roadsport racing has been exciting to say the least, and I can't wait to see what they do. But Paul Goldstein, easy to spot out there in his gold liveried car, with John Emery just following on behind him in his purple machine there with the yellow surround around his windscreen, and then Adam Keane in that red car, so slightly different coloured car for him since his academy charger. But as they all head up the chicane here, Roadsport, as you say, one step up from the academy who we saw last race out, and they will be strapping on they have the Toyo AAAR tyres and the rear anti-roll bar, and they also have a brake bias valve, but it remains a fully road legal car. You can see the number plates, windscreens, lights, everything must be there on these cars, and they must start the race fully road legal as they head up then, and they're going to, here is the grid from this morning's qualifying.
Okay, we'll give you the grid then. It is the two championship protagonists, Paul Goldstein at number 12 and 43 of Jono Emery on the front row. Second row, 37 Henry Speaks and 78 of Nick Heighton. Third row, Barry Hanif at number 11, fairly local man from Glasgow, alongside 79 of Barry Thompson. Istvan Demesh in number 55 on the fourth row, alongside number 8 Django Jones. Monty Hine 76 and 26 Tim Payne rounding out the top 10. On the sixth row, Orlando Morris, number 21, alongside Henry Morris in number 5. Then on the seventh row, it is Harvey Ashmore, number 10, alongside Norman Jeeves in the 77. Chris Coates, 25, and 13 Jack English on row 8. The ninth row, Miles Ayner, number 15, and 14 of Giles Hanson. Completing the top 20, Graham Handy in number 62 and 22 of Neil Bell. Behind them, Brian Joyce is on row 11, number 73, alongside number 4, Neville Sykes. Row 12, number 6, Anthony Nichols, with 65, Andrew Mackay for company. Penultimate row, Ruben Hunter, number 75, and 92, Howard Ashmore, and 63, Anne Hall rounds out the grid. We are missing this weekend, unfortunately, Adam Keane, our third man in the championship.
Yeah, so Adam Keane not here, and also missing Arif Hanif. He had a crash, unfortunately, so one of our local drivers crashed in testing, and it meant they couldn't get that car back out. So we have got the front lined up there between Goldstein on the left of your screen, Jonathan Emery on the right. And it's Henry Speaks and Nick Heighton who line up there. Next up is Barry Hanif, and then Barry Thompson. Barry Thompson, always one to watch in the black and white car there. You've seen Lewis Thompson, his son, out there racing in the 7 Championship UK. Well, it's Barry Thompson's turn in the Roadsports now to see what he can do from 6th place on the grid. But Goldstein's been the powerhouse of the season. He's doing so much Caterham action, and in the Roadsport, but also in the graduates. And last time at Cadwell, you'd have seen him out in multiple races in a row, so he's doing a fantastic job, learning a lot of experience in his second ever season of motorsport. But can Emery do anything about that gold car? Certainly he's been able to in the past, and he will be, fingers crossed, that he can do that again in this race.
So in the championship, there's 11 points at the top between Paul Goldstein and Jono Emery. Adam Keane is 6 points further back, but he's not here. Next in the points is Monty Hind. He's 10 points off Adam Keane, so chance to move up here. Then Henry Morris, Nick Heighton, Barry Thompson next in the order. Total of 44 drivers are registered for this season. Great to see so many making the move up. Most of them, of course, well, nearly all of them moving up from Academy, but as you say, Chris Paul Goldstein, also a Caterham Graduates racer in another of the Caterham championships we regularly see on our coverage on BARC TV, and a race winner in that as well.
Yep, just like the Academy you can't have had a race license before, and to enter the Roadsport event you can either graduate from the Academy, which is what nearly everybody does, but we do occasionally get a driver who wants to start out in the Roadsport, so they want to skip out the Academy step, or someone who's got a sort of similar level experience to the Academy drivers, so maybe 6 races under their belt. They can also sometimes get a route into this Roadsport, but our Academy is so popular, and they all want to carry on racing as much as they can, which is why we have such healthy grids. We combine the 2 Academy grids from their Academy year into the single Roadsports grid, which is why we see these high numbers, and it's a fantastic sight to see them all strung out around this track.
This will be another 20-minute race for the Bilstein Suspension Caterham Roadsport Championship. Paul Goldstein in gold, Jonathan Emery in the purple liveried car. Henry Speaks in red on the second row of the grid, looking for his first success in the championship. Another man we've seen in Caterham Graduates as well. He's currently down in joints 18th in the championship. He's had a couple of non-scores this year, and with how close the point structure is in these championships, 1 non-score, and it will ruin your season.
Yeah, it's a single point for every single position on the grid, except for if you win, you get 2 points over the person in second place. So, yeah, if you have a score that you drop down the order, then, yeah, it can really affect your season's action. However, we do run a drop score system in the championship, so you can, at the end of the year, drop your worst 2 scores in the case of Roadsport, and for the other championships, the worst 3 scores, to sort of even things out, and also mean that if you can't make a weekend for whatever reason, family commitments, whatever, you can also, means you know, motor racing doesn't have to stop you going to more important life events. But here we are then, lining up for the first of 2 Caterham Roadsport races this weekend. 20 minutes on the clock, as there are for all the Caterham racing today. Goldstein on the left of your screen, Jonathan Emery on the right. Can anyone interfere with that? Can Henry Speaks get that podium that he so wants up there? He's put himself in a good position.
Yes, Henry Speaks, the Hong Kong-based driver, alongside Nick Hyton in the number 78, just waiting for the last of this big grid to form up here. 27 cars scheduled to be on this Roadsport grid. Barry Hanif will be there, upholding family honour with Arif Hanif having damaged his car in testing. The red lights are on and they go out, and that rather caught the front row napping there. The red lights were only on for a very short time, and it was a great start by Nick Hyton from the outside of the second row. Looks like he's got the lead. Indeed he has. Nick Hyton, a great start there down the outside. Jono Emery into second. Paul Goldstein is third, and the front of the grid there have certainly caught out. The red lights were only on for a brief second, and they weren't expecting the race to start so suddenly.
I've noticed in all the races today the red lights have been on and off incredibly quickly, much quicker than we expect them to as drivers, but once they go out it is race going, and Hyton just spotted that much better than everyone else. I think he had a sort of second check to make sure that he wasn't didn't mistake that, but it was absolutely, the lights went off and on, and he's made himself up from third into that pole position, or the lead now of the race over Emery. Goldstein dropping to third place then in that early, so it's all changed in the early exchanges.
Yes, plenty of place swapping. We'll see what order the order is when they come round to complete the opening lap at the timing line. But it's certainly that green and blue car of Nick Hyton, number 78, the man from Bolton in Lancashire, who leads around the opening lap. He leads by 0.19 of a second ahead of Emery. Goldstein. Barry Hanif is up into fourth place, upholding Scottish honour. Jono Emery down the outside. He's never going to get through there at Duffus Dip. He bobs back in as they drop down into the left at Leslie's. Goldstein on his tail. There's Hanif in fourth position. Behind him, Barry Thompson is up into fifth. And Django Jones with a good start up into sixth. Henry Speaks was caught out at the start as well. I think he was caught behind Paul Goldstein. He's dropped down into seventh. The other big loser off the line was Istvan Demesh, who's dropped to 12th.
Yeah, as soon as you have to get out the throttle because the car's in front of you, you will drop away quite severely. But it is still Hyton then out front. He's put his car right at the front of this field. Emery looking to see whether he can do anything about it. He went side by side into turn one. Is he going to go side by side into Leslie? They are the two major overtaking opportunities. He's got a tailwind all the way down this long start-finish straight, and therefore it's going to be tough to overtake into Duffus Dip throughout the racing. And I think Roadsport showing that as well as anyone, as the rest of this 27-car field then flow on through. We got side by side again, only given the outside line for Emery, but he has got a bit of of momentum. It is possible to go around the outside. He's going to hold on. Can't see whether he made that stick. In fact, they've both gone off onto the grass. We can come across Hyton and Emery then side by side as they went in. And Emery managed to make it through, but Hyton was left facing backwards.
How Nick Hyton wasn't T-boned there, I will never know. He was just avoided by what's now the second place fight coming through. Barry Hanif is up into third. Then it's number 79 Barry Thompson in the black and white Dazzle camouflage liveried car is in fourth. I think that's Django Jones up there in fifth place. He had a couple of gravelly moments at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit earlier this season. He's going very well indeed up there in fifth in the maroon coloured car, side by side with Thompson. Let's have a look at that again as they came into the first corner at Duffus Dip, and yes, side by side through there doesn't work. They both went into the gravel. Emery kept his foot in and kept it going, and this was a scary moment for Nick Hyton, straight across the front of Paul Goldstein there. He was lucky.
Yeah, great job by all the drivers, but yeah, Emery actually had his nose slightly ahead as they went round, and Hyton trying desperately to avoid him, just lost the rear of his car, and once the rear stepped out, it just speared him into the side of Emery's car, and that's what dropped him onto the grass, and then, as you say, a scary ride across. But well done Goldstein for avoiding that issue, as Barry Thompson, I said watch out for him. He's up to fourth place already with Monty behind him, and Henry Speaks as well, and making good progress. But Barry Thompson making early flows, and it is Goldstein not in the place he's used to at the moment, in third place.
Nick Heighton has got going again. He's down to 14th, so we'll look for him coming back through the order. Barry Haniff is going well. Nick Heighton may be sponsored by Inno Rail, but the man going like an express train at the moment is Barry Haniff up there in second place, and he's at the head of a train of cars here. Paul Goldstein behind him, then it's Thompson, Jones and Speaks, I think, next in the order at the moment, and plenty of action and entertainment already in our Bilstein Roadsport's first race of the weekend.
And you can bet your bottom dollar that there are going to be plenty of supporters on the banks for the Haniff. It was going to be the Haniff brothers, but it's just Barry that's left, and he's in second place, holding back Goldstein at this stage. And there's that Thompson black and white car ahead of Speaks in the red and sort of orange and blue coloured car there. Then we've got Jones and Hind all sort of following nose to tail.
Yeah, Speaks has just taken Django Jones, who goes a little bit wide there over the curves. Django in chains, as it says on his number plate there. Great name, I have to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them nose to tail, trying to chase down Jono Emery, who leads by 2 seconds. His fastest lap 59.765. So that was last time around as they come into Taylor's turn, keeping it nice and tight in behind there. Behind Monty Hine, we've got the number 5 of Henry Morris, just ahead of Orlando Morris. Not sure if they're any relation, those two. And completing the field is the top 10 of the field is number 26, Tim Payne.
So here we go, side by side then, looking to see if Goldstein can make anything over Haniff. He can't do this time through. Barry Thompson seeing whether there's anything to pick up. They're certainly all looking out. I think the wind direction today is just not aiding with overtaking into one of our key overtaking opportunities of Duffers, which means everything comes down to the Taylor's hairpin, as Speaks is just seeing whether he can do anything about holding Jones behind him, and he's a moment managing to do it. They had to kind of sit there and wait. Cars blocking their path. They couldn't do anything with this extra speed that they had. As we watch this midfield battle, then all threading their needles through this such a deep field, and the action is fast and frantic. Watching the number 65 there, that's Mickey as he goes. McKee going through up into Clark's.
I think Orlando Morris and Tim Payne had a tangle somewhere on that last lap because they've dropped down the order. There's a yellow light flashing there, so we've got we did have yellow flags. That meant at Duffers Dip, so maybe that's where they've had an off, but they've got it going again, I think. Jono Emery continues to lead. He's 2.5 seconds up now on Barry Haniff in that second place. He's got Goldstein on his tail as they swoop down through McIntyre's once again. Goldstein gets the title line. Thompson still fourth, but he runs wide, puts 2 wheels into the gravel. Now this could be Henry Speaks' opportunity to take that 4th place away, because Thompson will have lost momentum there. He's being pushed along low by Django Jones. Monty Hind in the blue and yellow car there just behind them. Then there's a small gap back to Istvan Demesh, who's recovered from his poor start, up into 8th ahead of Henry Morris. And Nick Heighton, who went off while disputing the lead earlier on, is back up to 10th.
Yeah, still got a bit of a gap ahead of him to make up over this. We just saw a move starting to be made there by Goldstein heading into Taylor's. Can he get past Haniff this time through? But as you say, the gravel there, I think that's not going to be the first time we see that gravel used on the exit of McIntyre's. And we'll call it grippy gravel, but there's no way through for the cars following. It's all single file, but Heighton has got quite a nice comfortable lead over the top of Goldstein, who did get in front of Haniff then. So Goldstein up into the 2nd place, Haniff is down into 3rd place, and Thompson now the one looking like he wants to demote Haniff 1 more place. Henry Speaks still seeing if there's anything he can do about getting through. See if they can make it all through on the track this time. No, in fact Barry Thompson goes even wider off. He's going to be out into the deep gravel of the exit chicane. That's not going to help his race at all, and he was pushing just that little bit too hard.
Well, he's down to at least 7th place there. As a result of that, he's lost the draft, as they say in NASCAR racing, from that group. Now, has Barry Thompson lost any more places? I think he may have done there after going straight on, coming into the right-hander of Butchers. Meanwhile, Django Jones is still glued to the back of Henry Speaks. This is for 4th place now, this battle. 2nd place is Goldstein, 3rd behind him Barry Haniff, then 4th behind them Speaks, Jones and Hine. Now, is that Barry Thompson in there in that trio? It certainly is. So I think he's only lost those places in that initial group.
Yeah, so he is just going to be on the tail of this group, looking up the road to see whether then he can do it. But he needed a map that would go 3 wide there. Is behind this Goldstein battle, 3 wide. Henry Speaks is ahead of Hanif, so Hanif now is in the car with a sandwich between himself and Hind. And a little bit of a look there down the inside, but Hanif
I thought he'd lock the brakes up there. I was going to slide into the back of Henry Speaks. That was close.
It was, and there's great racing by all these drivers to make it through there. That was 3 wide into Duffer's Dip that time through, so put my comments about not being able to overtake into that corner to one side. Roadsport showing that it is absolutely possible.
Okay, well, Jono Emery is saying, if you lot are going to squabble behind me, I'm going to clear off. He's only 3.5 seconds up the road now. We've got 11 minutes of this race plus a few seconds left to go. So the lower orders come over the chicane, side by side through the chicane. You don't see that very often. I thought we were going to see the number 4 of Neville Sykes go flying off into the gravel there, but they managed to get through.
You certainly breathe in, don't you, even watching it as a commentator, let alone being in the car side by side as we watch Emery coming down the hill, well clear now of Goldstein, who's pulling clear of the side by side. This is Speaks versus Hanif as they come down towards us. Speaks around the outside. We saw this go wrong last time through, and then nearly again there was absolutely needed to use everything, but Speaks does make it in front then of Hanif, who's dropped another place. Henry Speaks making a great result again. We've seen him do this several times. He's up into the podium paying positions.
That's another rare overtaking spot down the outside at Duffus and then on the inside into the left at Leslie's. So they're finding some rare old overtaking spots. Barry Hanif fighting back as they go into Clark's. He's there on the inside. He goes through, retakes Henry Speaks back up into 3rd position. This is a terrific fight between these 4. Speaks will try again as they go down the railway straight. Django Jones making it 3 wide. That's not going to work, surely, down into Taylor's turn. I thought Django was going to be on the grass and heading straight on there. He has gone straight on at Taylor's turn, a little bit too enthusiastic. That could allow Monty Hind to come through as they come into the top straight.
Yeah, all using a very different line through Clark's that time, and meant that they all carried speed in slightly different places. But 3 wide as he went to Taylor's. It is Speaks though who is just out in front. Does mean that Goldstein is now broken clear and seeing whether he can do anything about a 3.8 second gap to himself and Emery. But if Emery keeps it all together, I think with 9 minutes left he can probably just about manage to keep it there. But Speaks is leading this angry battle pack there as well, so over the top of Hanif, Jones, Hind and Demes.
So Monty Hind has got ahead of Django Jones now. The gap back to Istvan Demes is in 7th. It's nearly 5 seconds. Barry Thompson is just behind him. Then Henry Morris and Nick Heighton round out the top 10. So Django Jones, is he going to try again to go 3 wide, and somebody with a big slide on there? Oh, it's Barry Thompson again. He's all over the place in this race.
You can certainly, if they get card sideways, then there's a high possibility it is the black and white car of Thompson. Again, like Oglesby earlier on, we saw that over trying to push these tyres of the cars just that little bit too much. They cry no more, and they will not give up any more grip. So we watch Emery over the line then. That was a Goldstein fast lap there, wasn't it? So 59.322 is his fastest lap, and he wasn't that far off it that time through. So he's putting in some nice consistent laps as we watch Henry Speaks coming down here, having to deal with the number 63 car there as he heads down into the Butchers this time through.
Yes, that's Anne Hall going a lap down. The 2 leaders actually clocked identical lap times last time through, 59.509, so no change in the gap there, certainly. Very multicoloured car there for Anne Hall has been lapped. Of course, Annie Hall, back in the early 60s, was a well-known rally driver. No relation, I don't think.
I don't think so. Anne Hall had a great addition to our grids and loves her Roadsport racing, and is heading out there, seeing what she can do around this Knockhill roller coaster of a circuit. As we watch Henry just protecting from Hanif, a little bit of a comfort gap back as we watch some racing going on here for number 15 there.
Somebody's gone wide coming off McIntyre's. It's number 15 is Miles Anon, I think that was.
Was indeed. So we watch this, they've broken up 2x2 battles. It seems to be the order of the day, doesn't it, as the end of the race nears, and it's Speaks holding off Hanif into that 3rd place at the moment. Goldstein's disappeared off up the road, but it's 2x2, so Hanif and Speaks, and then we have the Jones and Hind battle, which has pretty much been nose to tail most of this race.
Yes, Django Jones still holding back Monty Hind. There's Paul Goldstein, who's escaped into 2nd place. The lead gap is up to 4.4 seconds now for Jono Emery. Still Henry Speaks working hard to hold back that citrus yellow and black car of Barry Hanif as they head into the right-hander at Taylor's turn. Again going a little bit deep into the turn there, Django Jones in the maroon number 8's cars. A black and white flag out. That's car 55. That's Istvan Demesh in P9. So he gets the driving standards flag. Well, we haven't forgotten about our leader, number 43, Jono Emery, in the clear. Looking to take the championship lead potentially this weekend. He's 11 points behind Paul Goldstein. So if Paul hits any misfortune, Jono Emery takes a lot of curb there at the chicane. We'll be up there. He had a double win at Snetterton at the season opener. Was also a winner on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuits. Second behind Adam Keane in the second race at Cadwell Park.
We've seen him as soon as he gets that gap. He's got that killer instinct. He's very, very consistent once he is out front. Goldstein, is that Goldstein slipping back into the clutches of Speaks? Has he made a mistake? I think he must have done. Because that gap is less than a second and a half, as we watch also Monty Hine.
Yeah, he's finally got ahead of Django Jones.
Yeah, looking at it side by side though in that battle, but Goldstein is coming backwards quickly towards Speaks.
Now, whether Paul Goldstein's got a problem, we'll have a look at his lap time as he comes over the line. Just under 6 minutes of this race to go, and that gap has definitely come down. Yes, Goldstein's last lap was a 1 minute, .002. Speaks just did the fastest lap of the race, 59.058. That's a superb lap time for the number 37 of Henry Speaks. He's really gunning for Paul Goldstein here. Fourth behind them is now Barry Hannif, just going a little bit wide onto the curbs there as they come out of McIntyre's. Yes, and Goldstein will be able to see Henry Speaks. There is that lap time confirmed, 59.058, an average speed of over 77 miles per hour. Sky threatening, but the action still red hot on track.
Yeah, when you see how tight and twisty that this circuit is, and then realise the average speed they're doing is well over motorway speed. As Henry Speaks looks to the outside then of Goldstein. Has Goldstein got a problem, or did he just make a mistake which allowed Speaks then to get back into his toe? As they went up to Leslie's that time, they were side by side, and it Speaks looking to see whether he can go another step higher on that podium. Third place, he would love that, but I'm sure second place sounds even better for him as they go side by side here for Goldstein and Speaks to the outside then. It's worked a couple of times, not going to work this time. He does tuck back in. Goldstein having to take the slightly narrower line, which means he's slightly off as they go through Leslie's and then into McIntyre's this time through, and it's giving Hannif the chance to catch right back up again. And then we've seen he is the last of the late breakers into the Leslie's hairpin, so seeing whether Hannif can do anything about that. Speaks goes a little bit wide, does manage to get it all together. It's got Hannif got to run up at the inside of Clark's then, and does look like he's going to get that position done.
Great opportunist move there by Barry Hannif to take that third place away. You can see they pull clear of Hind and Jones as they have their own little scrap as well. Paul Goldstein gets his foot down along Railway straight out of Hislops and trying to pull away towards Jono Emery. Once again, as Speaks back to the inside into Taylor's turn, retakes P3.
Although it looks like Hannif's going to have the run on him as they go up the right-hand side. It's slightly less steep up the right-hand side of the circuit there, so a lot of drivers do take to that right-hand side even when they're not defending the course. It is Goldstein. Speaks does make it back through then at the hairpin that time through, so Hannif having to go back into that fourth place. He's trying out all these podium positions for size, isn't he, as he goes through, and it is Speaks though that's just heading. He will be really want to hold on to that podium, but Goldstein is just there. Almost I think Speaks would have been happier if Goldstein hadn't dropped back, because it's causing him all sorts of headaches where he's having to look in front and behind, and Goldstein has now got back markers to deal with as well.
Terrific fight here for the second, third and fourth with just over 3 minutes of the race to go. Here's the other battle behind them with Monty Hind and Django Jones still swapping places for fun. It's Jones who has P5 at the moment. Come up to lap the number 92 car of Howard Ashmore. He slows to let them through. Goldstein still hanging on ahead of Henry Speaks, but none of them lapping in under the 1 minute at the moment. The only driver currently doing that is Jono Emery as he pulls away in the lead. He leads up to 6.7 seconds now over Paul Goldstein.
Masterclass from Emery, isn't it? He's 2 minutes 48, so probably about 3 more laps then to complete of this 1.3 mile circuit, 2.1 kilometres around here. And as you say, if you've ever been here for real, you know how steep and hilly those kilometres are as well. Goldstein, another back marker, catching up inside the chicane. That's going to give Speaks a nice run on him. Hannif has just drifted his charge. I think Speaks will be able to go up the inside as well. No, Speaks gets held up. Hannif sees whether he can do anything about shoving his nose up the inside. Doesn't make it stick. Well, the back marker didn't know where to go then. Speaks, though, somehow got an absolute slingshot out. I'm not sure Goldstein's car is absolutely firing on all cylinders there. He's struggling a little bit as they go down in. Henry Speaks looking around the outside. He's going to see whether he can do the cutback Goldstein did have to take the tight line, but it looks like he's got that position sewn up just for the time being.
This is fantastic, but all for second place as Jono Emery clears off into the distance. He's picked off another back marker there as they come down into Duffers Dip. Here comes the second place fight there. Senna and Mansell style, wheel to wheel there. Speaks on the inside, Goldstein on the outside. Speaks into second place into Duffers Dip. This is absolutely terrific stuff. Down to McIntyre's, the leader already coming through the chicane. And here they come then through the Butchers, then up over the top of the roller coaster. Speaks from Goldstein. There's Hanif in that fourth position. He'd love a podium on his home circuit. Monty Hines got back ahead of Django Jones once again as well in the battle for P5. Those two are pretty tied together by a piece of twine.
They're going to have some stories, aren't they, when they get back to Parc Fermé. Brilliant racing from all of the Roadsport drivers. Emery showing a masterclass about how to do this. So here comes the battle then for second. It Speaks, in fact, having it was third place in the battle. We were looking to see whether they would fight between Hanif and Goldstein. So Goldstein, can he maintain that podium? I don't think he's firing on all cylinders, given that he has been so dominant in this early part of the race and everything he's done. There is our race leader then. 50 seconds to go. I think it's hard to say whether he crossed the line with enough time. Could be the last lap, so we'll keep an eye out for that checkered flag this time through. But Jono Emery, masterclass.
Goldstein was down to fourth as they cross the timing line there, so we'll wait to see where he comes out next time we see them. Nick Heighton, number 78, has just got the black and white flag, so he needs to be careful for the last couple of laps of this race. Jono Emery continues to lead. Wait to see who comes through in second and third. Speaks, Hanif and Goldstein still battling it out. 15 seconds on the clock.
It's going to be tight,
so
isn't it?
Yes, wait to see if it's going to be checkered flag this time or not. It was touch and go as Jono Emery crossed the line. That's why we're staying with Jono. The black and white flag is out, but not the one we were expecting, not the checkered flag. So there will be one more lap to go. There's the last lap board, with 1 second left as they cross the line. They've timed that perfectly. So all eyes switch back now to the battle for second and third. Which order are they going to cross the line in at the timing line? Goldstein's down to fifth behind Django Jones. He has got a problem, Paul Goldstein.
Got to. It's definitely not looking like that car is heading forward as quickly as the other drivers, and having to defend heavily there as we scan back. But here is that battle. Is that Henry Speaks? Yep, ahead of Hanif. So Hanif at the moment, in fact, so Goldstein back ahead into that fourth place. So he's still there. It seems to be sporadic, doesn't it? It just seems maybe he's got a gear selection problem or something. But again, here comes Hind up the inside and looking like he's going to demote him once more as they go through Clark's.
Here they come then onto Railway Straight for the last time. Here comes Monty Hines, going to try and make it three wide. It could be Jones in the middle. Hind could slingshot both of them here into Taylor's turn. He gets a wheel onto the grass. This is a brave move by Monty Hines. Meanwhile, Jono Emery coming up to take the checkered flag. He's going to take the win by a very clear margin. But who is going to be second over the line? They're all coming through the last corner now. Up into sight, it's going to be Henry Speaks in second place. Barry Hanif is third. Jones is fourth, and a photo finish between Goldstein and Hind for fifth place. The timing screen has it as Goldstein by 0.117 of a second. Then Heighton, Thompson, Henry Morris and Istvan Demesh completing the top 10. Good recovery by Nick Heighton there into P7. But, well, what a fight that was for the minor places on the podium. Henry Speaks gets the second place. Barry Hanif gets third on his home track. But Jono Emery the winner by nearly 8.5 seconds.
Brilliant action from our Roadsports there, and looking forward to their second race already tomorrow after that showing. And like I say, hopefully we can hear from Goldstein maybe and find out what was wrong with his car, because it's not the position we're used to seeing that gold car in, and drifting down to fifth place. But Emery, I don't think there was much they were going to do about him anyway after his initial contact with Heighton fighting all the way back up to seventh. But Speaks is going to be delighted in that second place, and I'm sure Hanif and all his supporters around the circuit are also going to be delighted to see him up into that podium position.
Just a one non-finish as that race. We lost Orlando Morris on lap 6. Unfortunately, he had a tangle, I think, with Tim Payne somewhere. So Jono Emery the winner by nearly 8.5 seconds. That's an enormous margin again in Caterham racing. Barry Hanif gets the third behind Henry Speaks. Great battle between them and Django Jones in fourth. The three wide moment into Taylor's turn didn't quite work for Monty Hind. He finishes behind the slightly struggling Paul Goldstein. Then Nick Heighton, recovering after his spin while fighting for the lead, takes P7 ahead of Barry Thompson. A wayward race for him. Henry Morris and Istvan Demesh round out the top 10 ahead of Jack English, Norman Jeeves in 12th, Harvey Ashmore 13th, and Graham Handy and Giles Hansen rounded out the top 15. 26 of the 27 starters went the distance. It was Henry Speaks with a 59.058 who got the fastest lap. Cars are heading into Parc Fermé, so shortly we'll be over to Sam Parker.
Gosh, well, the man of that race was definitely Jono Emery. What a drive from him, and fantastic driving from Henry Speaks as well. Good to see him on the podium. And Barry is a local chap, so he would be delighted to be on the podium. Oh, Jono, I'm good, thank you. How are you after that? Of course, you can sit there. What a race. Dan, you had such a good lead.
Yeah, me and before I say anything else, can I just say hi to Rob Cohen and Greta, because they're not here this weekend. They're having a baby, so this one's for them. All right, so yeah. But no, first lap was... I think I was behind. It's me and Nick. Nick's always a fighter. I knew we'd have a coming together, but I wanted to get away from Paul. So luckily, come down Duffer's Dip, hurt my back a bit on that, but luckily I could get the break. They seemed to be scrapping behind me, and just consistent lap times and just gritted teeth, keep going, and it was awesome. Such a cool race. Really, really pleased. First time I've been here this weekend, so chuffed a bit.
Yeah, what an achievement. First time you've been here and you get on the podium, and not just the podium but first place. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, thank you. Do you know who got to fastest lap?
I don't actually know. I'll leave that one for you, leave that in suspense. Well done, Jono. Right, let's speak to congratulations, Henry. What a fantastic race for you.
That was fantastic, especially after Cadwell, which was less than ideal, but it's nice to finally be back up here. I want to say thanks to my parents as well, who this is probably the first race this year they haven't been able to come to, but thank you very much.
Well, and also we have some more news. You got fastest lap?
Did I? Oh, excellent. Always like one of those, don't we?
Yeah.
Good to know.
Brilliant. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go and have a look and speak to Barry. Barry, congratulations! You did it for Knockhill, for your local track.
Did it for Team Scotland, did it for the family. None of my other friends could make it. My brothers, they couldn't make it. A couple of accidents and one too busy with work commitments, so missing Shiraz, Arif and Andy, the main men. But I had to do it for us.
Yeah, you did it for them, but I'll be so proud of you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hopefully my mum's watching at home. She'll be proud as well. I'll get her to come and watch tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're just going to do it all again tomorrow, is that okay?
Definitely. I think I'm a bit better at anti-clockwise, so hopefully we'll see. We'll give these guys a run for their money.
That's it. Do you prefer anti-clockwise?
A little bit, yeah.
That seems to be the general vote, actually, is on the anti-clockwise.
It's a bit simpler and a bit easier to overtake, etc. So we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Yeah, well done. I wish you all the best for tomorrow as well. Thank you. Right, next up is the Motul 310R Championship, so we'll hand over to David and Chris.
Thank you, Sam. So it's on to the what's effectively the fourth rung on the ladder, the final evolution, if you like, of the Caterham Academy car, the Motul Caterham 7310R Championship, the second highest rung on the Caterham ladder. 3 races to go here at Knockhill this afternoon. Now, one comment on our stream I noticed from Paul Maxey has said, just looked at the timetable, it says anti-clockwise for tomorrow, so they race the track in reverse tomorrow. Does that mean? That's exactly what it means, Paul. Yes, we're going round the other way in tomorrow's races. But for now, let's have a look at the grid for the Caterham 7310Rs. It's Harry Cook, the championship leader in car number 9 on pole, with number 22 Hugo Bush looking to make up for a rare retirement last time out at Cadwell Park alongside him. Second row, number 11, the yellow peril Taylor O'Flanagan, turning to his car, of course, alongside number 34 Blair McConaughey. Row 3, number 70 Lars Hoffman, and 81 Tom Willis. Row 4, the former CEO of Caterham, number 19 Graham McDonald, and 92 Philip Bianchi. Row 5, 55 Harry Eyre, alongside number 4 Duncan Malik, completing the top 10 on the grid. Row 6, 38 Jeff Price, and number 3 William Wood. Row 7, 85 Rob Bullen, and 68 Chris Welch. At the final row of the grid, 45 Richard McCann, and 16 Steve Metcalf. Let's have a look at the championship standings then. Well, it's Harry Cook with a fairly substantial lead at the moment. First of 3 races this weekend here at Knockhill. They have a triple header at Brands Hatch and another at Donington in October to go. And with 274 points, Harry Cook leads the German in the Motul liveried car Lars Alexander Hoffman, who's on 249. 3 points further back is Hugo Bush, who's been held back by that DNF in race 3 in Lincolnshire at Cadwell Park. And then Taylor O'Flanagan, he had a DNF himself in the opening meeting of the year at Snetterton in the second race. Tom Willis rounding out the top 5 in the points. He missed the trip to Zandvoort in the Netherlands. That's why he's a little bit further back on 205 points. So he will count those as his drop scores in this the Motul Caterham 7 310R Championship.
Yep, 3 drop scores for this level of the championship, so they have 3 races per weekend, and therefore they get to drop 1 complete race weekend as part of their championship score. That will all start becoming relevant as we head towards the tail end of this season. Still got Brands Hatch and Donington still to go though, so plenty of racing. In fact, they've got 9 races still ahead of them before they determine those championships, and what a battle royale it's been between the front 5-6 of this grid. Harry Cook, Lars Hoffman, Bush, Flanagan and Tom Willis have been absolutely nose to tail in every single outing they've been out there, and they've been sort of showing the rest. I mean, they are in their sort of 4th and more seasons of Caterham Motorsport under their belts. They really are the experienced drivers. This is the ultimate incarnation of that academy car that we've been watching. So they've had 4 upgrades to the car, and it's got a significant power increase. It's got more revs. It's got wider track suspension. It's got all the tools, and including a limited slip differential at the rear of the car. So oversteer and power oversteer becomes a thing. So the drivers are experienced. The cars give them more, and they really do know how to pedal these machines around. And Knockhill is no exception. Hugo Bush then in the 2nd place to Harry Cook. Harry Cook's had a bit of that resurgent season, and really knows how to win now, and is making it work all the time in his newly liveried car for this year. Harry Cook then on the left of your screen ahead of Hugo Bush on the right. That's building up to that, and as he said, the yellow car of Taylor Flanagan always there or thereabouts in that 3rd place here today. And we got Blair McConaughey, a man back for this race weekend, another Scottish driver looking to see whether they can do in front of their friends and family, and he's plonked his car right up there into 4th place, getting right involved in this battle royale. And Lars Hoffman and Tom Willis will be slightly disappointed to find themselves in sort of 5th and 6th, and Graham McDonald, as you say, ex-CEO of Caterham Cars, still loves racing and still takes part, and he's up here to take part in the Scottish race as well.
Yes, Graham originally from Scotland, now lives down in the south of England. Blair McConaughey from Inverurie, upholding local honour, the black and white car on the 2nd row of the grid. Black and yellow car of Harry Cook on pole, comes from Wimborne down in Dorset with that clear championship lead. That's alongside Hugo Bush, the number 22. That's the grey and red car. He comes from Guildford in Surrey. Taylor O'Flanagan from Willington. He's 4th in the points. Finally got his first win in this 310R division at Silverstone on the Grand Prix circuit earlier this season. Just 1 point behind Hugo Bush in the points now. And just 3 points ahead of Bush is Lars Hoffman. So it's all to play for 2nd place in the championship. There is the number 3 of William Wood, the Londoner, towards the back of the grid on the 6th row. A total of 16 cars on this grid. Grid's just a little bit down from our regular levels in these championships, but of course for many drivers Scotland a very long way to travel.
It just works out like that sometimes as well, and the 270 and the Roadsport fields are showing how many cars are coming up and through, so they'll be making their move up from the 270 into the 310 next year. So there's plenty of healthy grids, and like I said, this grid has certainly been all about those front 5 or 6 cars, and I'm expecting big things from the racing. It's been truly spectacular throughout the course of this season so far. Let's see whether they can make it around turn 1 though. It's not been easy for all our other grids so far, so let's see whether the 310Rs can show them how it's done and get it through Duffer's Dip for the first time. If you're sat in a Caterham, you wouldn't believe how much it looks like you're going off the end of the world there. You're sat on the floor effectively looking over a cliff edge, knowing that there's probably a lot of cars ahead of you, and hopefully they're all facing in the right direction.
So up to the grid they come then. Harry Cook in black and yellow, Hugo Bush in grey and red on the front of the grid. 2nd row in yellow is Taylor O'Flanagan, Blair McConaughey in white and black. Row 3 we've got Lars Hoffman in the red and white, the Motul Motor Oils colours from Germany, and Tom Willis completing the 3rd row of the grid. I would expect the winner here to come from one of those first 3 rows, but anything can happen in Caterham racing. And it usually does.
Absolutely.
Paraphrase Murray Walker once again. 5-second board is shown then. We wait for the red lights to come on the gantry. The Motul Caterham 310R Championship. Red lights go out and away we go. Super start by Hugo Bush. Decent getaway from Blair McConaughey from the second row of the grid as well. Not the best of starts for Harry Cook from pole. He's behind Taylor O'Flanagan. It is Bush who leads the way. O'Flanagan takes a lot of curb into that first corner. He slots into second place. Cook has recovered from that poor start. He's up into third. A big lock up there from Hoffman in the red and white car. Slides a little bit. Somebody kicking up some dust further back. They've all made it round the first couple of corners. Hugo Bush leads over the top of the chicane for the first time. A couple of cars side by side through there. The 3 of William Wood, the 38 of Jeff Price that was. They've got through there A-OK. This is Bush who leads the way. O'Flanagan slots into second place up towards Taylor's turn for the first time. Harry Cook is in third place. Then in fourth position behind there, that looks like Blair McConaughey. The only driver a little bit slower off the line was Lars Hoffman. He could have lost fifth place there, I think. I think that might be Tom Willis that's got through. We'll check that as they cross the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Willis is fighting there in that front group, and then Graham McDonald as well. But it was Bush who made the best start as they all fly over the line. They're going side by side. Taylor O'Flanagan made up 3 places, or 2 places over that. He's going around the outside. Managed to make it stick. Hugo Bush had to ride the curb, but does make it stick. Cook is managing to stop and defend from Blair McConaughey, who's up there in that 4th place. Now ahead of Lars Hoffman in that 5th place. Then it's Willis, and then it's I think it's Bianchi. It is Bianchi following on there to Cook, out of shape once more. Our pole position driver and our lead championship driver is not having it all his own way in the early parts of this 310R race as they head up through Clark's this time.
Trying a little bit too hard, I think, to make up for that slightly poor start. It is Taylor O'Flanagan who has taken the lead with that audacious move around the outside, coming out of Duffus Dip into Leslie's. The yellow machine has got the lead then. 3 wide for third place. Look at Lars Hoffman up the inside. Such a daring driver. He is a real daredevil, is the German. I think he's got P3 away there as they come up across the line for the second time. No, he hasn't. He's in behind Blair McConaughey, who managed to hold the place there. So it was almost all chop and change there, but not quite. The first 2 have been able to get away slightly as a result of that. So Flanagan leads Bush by 0.333 of a second. It's McConaughey third, then Hoffman. Cook down to 5th. And in 6th place behind them, the white and black car with the red bit on the roll cage there. That is Tom Willis in P7, I think. Has he got ahead of Philip Bianchi, the man from Malta? I think he has.
Yeah, I think he has. Welcome back to Caterham Racing, Blair McConaughey. Here we go then, as we saw Lars Hoffman shove it down the inside as he went into Leslie that time. He did lose the momentum, and therefore I think that's what caused McConaughey to get back up and through. But we are going side by side. Why not? And 3 wide, a little bit further back. Taylor O'Flanagan down the inside of Hugo Bush. Then Hugo Bush seeing whether he can do anything to get that speed back up the line again. Again, Hoffman is looking really late on the brakes, isn't he, into the Taylor's hairpin and making things happen where others haven't been able to so far. Hugo Bush again seeing whether there's anything he can do. Blair McConaughey getting drawn clear of this chase group. Then Cook is not happy in that car at the moment. The balance may be just slightly off. Hopefully as his tyres warm up, he'll get that back under control, as Willis now making some progress through the field ahead of Duncan Mallett, who's coming through the field up into, I think, 6th place now. So he's moved ahead of Bianchi. So where's Hoffman gone? Hoffman's dropped all the way back down there, just ahead of McDonald. So yeah, unfortunate there that he looks like he is slipped back down. So maybe that dive that he made down the inside of Taylor's that time just really didn't work out for him.
Yeah, Hoffman's last lap was a 59, so he's lost about 3 seconds on that last lap. He's down to 8th. He's lost 4 places as challenge on for the lead. O'Flanagan and Bush side by side. O'Flanagan holds the inside line. Here comes McConaughey up the inside as well. Local circuit knowledge for number 34, Blair McConaughey. Could we see a win for Scotland here this weekend? It's certainly likely in this one. McConaughey still there in 3rd place, being reeled in though by Harry Cook, who's recovering from that slightly off the pace start. First 4 nose to tail, trying to break out of the tow there is Hugo Bush to take the lead away in the the grey and orange car, I should say. 5th is Willis. Duncan Mallett is indeed up into 6th. That's the dark grey car with the green sponsorship decals. Bianchi 7th, Hoffman 8th, McDonald 9th, and 55 Harry Air rounds out the top 10.
I think this race is all going to come back together then. All these cars still running nose to tail, and those gaps that did develop, I think because we're going to have battling now, we're going to see that all close back up again. Willis and Mallett. So Mallett is really making progress through. DPR driver there heading to the outside of Taylor's hairpin. Can he do anything about that as we watch the group in front? McConaughey out to the side of Hugo Bush. He's going to have the run up the hill. I think Hugo Bush is going to drift back to 3rd place by the time they get over the line this time through then. O'Flanagan just about hanging on in there, and he comes across the line ahead of McConaughey, and Bush is now down to third place, getting absolutely pushed along by Cook. Cook drifts out of the slipstream, looking down the inside of Duffer Dip. He's not got it done this time, didn't quite have the momentum, but nearly.
Well, this is the level of action we've seen in every Motul Caterham 7 310R Championship race this year. The second group's now towing up onto the back of the leaders. Willis, Mallet, Bianchi is in there as well. Behind them is Hoffman. It's going to be 8 line astern for the lead shortly. There's the number 4 of Duncan Mallet, the man from Fressingfield. Graham McDonald in the blue and white Scottish flag liveried car is on the back of this group as well. That'll win the approval of the local supporters. Harry Eyre rounding out the top 10. All 16 cars are still running at the tail of the field at the moment is Chris Welch, number 68, and he's only 11.5 seconds off the leader.
Welcome back, Chris Welch, after a big accident at Cadwell Park. A lot of work to get that car back together, but again, all done and dusted and back out here racing. You can see his red car at the rear of this pack of 4 also having their battle. That's Bullen, McCann, Metcalf and Welch. As we go weaving down the straight, there is McConaughey, solidified that second place, but it was side by side between Cook and Bush. There was a slight overlap there, which was awkward as McDonald loses the rear of his car just as he goes down into the compression. Normally that's fine because the compression then increases the grip and allows you to get it all back under control. He does look as though he's clinging on in there. Hoffman has back up to speed again, seeing whether he can do anything about the 92 of Bianchi. He's got a bit of a run, but I don't think there's going to be anything doing up into to the corner this time, as we see Taylor O'Flanagan, who has been the head of this field for quite a few laps now, but it's never looked comfortable.
It never looks comfortable, full stop, in 310R racing. You haven't got time to relax or get comfortable, as we can see here, with 9 of them attacking for the lead. O'Flanagan holds the inside line ahead of McConaughey. Bush under fire for third. That's Harry Cook trying to go through on the inside to take away P3 as they head up towards the top of the course once again to complete their 7th lap. It's side by side for the lead, and trying to dodge to the inside there was Hugo Bush. They're 4 square into the first corner at Duffer Dip. O'Flanagan side by side onto the curb goes McConaughey. I thought he was heading for the grass there. Holds that second place. This is going to back them up into the rest of the pack even further, with Cook under fire from Willis, Mallet, Bianchi, Hoffman and McDonald. Those top 9 over the line were covered by 2.1 seconds.
They're absolutely nose to tail, just threading that needle all together. Look at this train of Caterhams heading up through the top 9 cars. Well, McDonald late in the line again there, but O'Flanagan heading it, and it's like there's a little tow rope between them all. Hugo Bush looking to see whether he can do anything around the outside of McConaughey, and those two have been battling into this corner several times. Hugo Bush does keep and squeezes McConaughey down onto the apex, which means he's not going to be able to get the run up the hill, and he may even lose a further place to Cook. So Cook down in that 4th place. In fact, Cook over the line this time in 5th place as he's drifting back down this field. He's going to see whether he can do anything to stop it. O'Flanagan now heads Bush, heads McConaughey. Willis up into that 4th place, and Cook down into 5th.
Yes, Hugo Cook doesn't quite seem, Harry Cook rather, doesn't quite seem to have the pace of his rivals just at the moment in a straight line. He can get up the inside off the turns, but just hasn't got that top end pace at the moment. There's Philip Bianchi, the 92 car with the white and red striped bonnet, staying ahead of Lars Hoffman. But a slightly subdued race for Lars since that mistake early on. He can't quite fight his way back up in the draft, as they still go 9 astern. A train of Caterhams down Railway Straight up into Taylor's turn, going for the inside. That's McConaughey. That's going to be a brave move. He's not going to get through, surely. He might get 2nd place ahead of Hugo Bush. That was Tom Willis getting shuffled out wide, I think, in there as well. From a distance, the cars of McConaughey and Willis are quite similar in colour, so it's a little tricky to tell them apart at times.
Price and Wood going 3 wide through Taylor's that time. Very bumpy on the inside. McConaughey therefore did lose all of his speed and momentum. Mallet's now around the outside of him, so bumpy down the inside of Railway Straight there, and then meant that he lost all his momentum, got pinched up on the apex, and was dealing more with just trying to get it all stopped. And I think he might lose another place as they're going side by side up into the chicane. Hoffman does make it round the outside, so McConaughey went from trying to go for the lead all the way down into 7th place. Bianchi now just behind McDonald there as well. O'Flanagan still leads this group. It's now Hugo Bush, Tom Willis, Cook fighting back, and they've got this train of cars. Every time they move out of line, they risk not being able to get back in the line, and I think that's really what happened to McConaughey. He got shuffled out and he just never got the gap to come back in.
Into Taylor's turn once again. Hugo Cook dives for the inside in the number 9 car. He's taking P3. Harry Cook, I should say. I keep getting Harry Cook and Hugo Bush mixed up. Hugo Cook races in Brick Car Endurance. I do apologise.
Side by side once more then. Hugo looking to the outside line. Harry does manage to get across and there solidifies that third place now. So he can see whether he can settle in and close this gap to our lead too then. Hugo and Taylor O'Flanagan will be looking in their mirrors furiously to see whether there's anything they can do about springing that gap. They still got half of this race still to go. So we've had everything we've got it all to do again. See what they can do in the second 10 minutes of this 20-minute action. First of 3 races for them this weekend. They'll have 2 races tomorrow in the opposite direction. Let's see how they get through this first race first though. And it's Willis now in to defend from Mallet there. So Mallet's having a really good run through this field.
Yes, Duncan Mallet up the outside there going into Taylor's turn. This is a try for P4, but he's left the gap open for Hoffman, who's now started to get back into his stride in the number 70, the Motul liveried car. Up and over the top they come then. O'Flanagan still with Hugo Bush tucked almost underneath his rear axle. It's going to be almost 3 wide because Harry Cook there trying to have a go around the outside, and still Taylor O'Flanagan holds them all off. But this often seems to be the story for Taylor. He leads all the way and then someone zaps him coming out of the final corner. He seems to be so unlucky.
You can be in the lead for the whole of the race, but if you don't lead over that line, you don't get the win. So yes, he's seeing whether this is going to be a win for him. Harry Cook, so his tyres are now up to temperature, maybe up to pressure, or any issues he was having earlier on. It looks like those front 3 have now got a little bit of a gap over Willis, who's having to deal with Mallet, up from 10th place in qualifying, Mallet up into 5th. So great result for him so far. See whether he can get it to the end of this race. He hasn't always managed that this year. Go side by side, 3 wide, why not, into Taylor's this time through. The natural line by Cook. Hugo Bush does take over the lead for the first time, and watch Cook because he's going to have a run of them over the line this time.
Hugo Bush, that was brave around the outside there going towards Taylor's turn. We don't see that very often, but he's got the lead away from O'Flanagan. Here comes Harry Cook on the inside. They were nothing between them at the line. I think Cook will get up the inside here into the first corner. He bounced, he flew over the curb there, goodness me. That was spectacular from Harry Cook. There was a stunt driving there. Now the battle for 4th. Who have we got in 4th place? It's Willis ahead of Hoffman up to 5th now. He's got ahead of Duncan Mallet. Then it's Graham McDonald and Blair McConaughey. We've lost, I think, Bianchi. Yeah, he's dropped down to, he's come through in 13th place, so he's had a moment somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe a bit of a gravelly moment for Bianchi then as he was battling, but like you say, but McConaughey all the way back down the rear of this pack after fighting for the front. He's got a lot of work to do in the next 7 minutes 45 seconds. Hoffman having to deal with Duncan Mallet, so he put him behind him last time through, but now he's got him big in the rear view mirrors. Hugo Bush down the inside of O'Flanagan looking to see whether he can get that place back from the last time through. Cook looked like he had the run up the hill, but O'Flanagan was dead brave over that curb, and they managed to avoid each other. Again, the experience of these drivers showing 3 as one as they went across the line. Hugo Bush is out front, but Cook is now down the inside. O'Flanagan blocked a wheel. Is he going to be able to get it? He's in the gravel coming down the hill. He will be able to gather that all back up, but he's going to be losing position and time. He's going to drop behind Mallet, so he finds himself from the lead of this race all the way down into 7th place. That's a disaster at this stage. 7 minutes left to go. Bush and Cook now out front.
What did I say about Taylor O'Flanagan being the bad luck driver of this championship? Just the slightest miss of his braking point there into Duffer's Dip, and over the gravel and the grass he goes. There's a horrendous bump in that grass there as well. It launches you into the air, so his back will be aching a bit, I'll wager now, as he's not affecting him though. He's straight back to the inside, attacking Duncan Mallet as they come into Taylor's turn. There are the 2 leaders, Bush and Cook. We've been there before this season, and it could well be Hoffman back up into P3.
Yep, so Hoffman has had a bit of an eventful race, but he's looking to see what he can do. First 2, though, are clear. Can Cook do anything about Bush? He's on the outside. They may even choose to work with each other. Not right now, but it is still all of the cars together. Mallet makes his way up into 3rd place then, over the top of Willis and Hoffman. Taylor O'Flanagan is dropping back now into the... In fact, he lost his radiator. I think he's lost his radiator. He has. He's leaking coolant everywhere. And in fact, that means that there's going to be coolant all the way through those first 2 corners. That's going to be awful. Taylor O'Flanagan needs to stop that car ASAP.
He needs to pull off. He needs to pull off, Taylor O'Flanagan. He's done so.
Realised it.
Yeah, the radiator burst there. He hit the back of Lars Hoffman, I think it was, going into Duffer's Dip there. Whether there was a braking problem with that car, because that's the 2nd time he's missed his braking point going into Duffer's Dip there. He's clipped the back of Lars Hoffman and has damaged the front of the car. Hoffman's car is still going. There he is in P5. But let's hope it's not too slippery as they come through those first
It really is going to be
corners.
ever so slippery around that for all these cars. Let's hope that they all can see the slippery surface flag, which I know will be put out. They're going to come into it for the first time, and it's Hugo Bush on the outside. They're going to find that the middle of this corner has very little grip, and hopefully they'll all be able to adapt to it. It looks like they've got it all hauled up just for the time being. Yellow flag waved there for the stationary car around the corner up here. So it does look like they are all just about threaded through. I'm really pleased to see that, because it would have been really uncomfortable to watch them coming through there if it really was properly slippery. But it looks like they all got their message in time. Willis in that third place then, over the top of Mallet and Hoffman. So it's changed even in those last couple of corners for Willis, making his way from fourth over the line to now in that third place.
Well, Tom Willis and Duncan Mallet, a brilliant battle between these two, and Mallet to the inside as they come down into Taylor's turn. The door is just about closed on him by Tom Willis. Hoffman in P5, and a small gap back to Blair McConaughey, who's still there in 6th. Graham McDonald is 7th. Yes, Bianchi is still he's down in 11th now. His last lap was a 1:16, so he's clearly had an off somewhere out of our view. Hoffman with a bit of bodywork flapping, and yeah, they're finding that cool now. Duncan Mallet back up the inside. You saw Tom Willis lock up and slide wide there, going out of Duffer's Dip. The yellow flags are still out through the McIntyres and Butchers section up to the chicane, so no overtaking through there. Duncan Mallet having a superb race up there in P3.
Yeah, absolutely. He's some 10th on the grid up to P3, and really looked part of this battle throughout. Cook didn't look like he was going to be part of this battle to start with, but his car's come good, and he is now pressuring the back of Hugo Bush's car there as they go up into Taylor's. Hugo Bush has not had a comfortable race, but he has led for now that Taylor's out of the picture for a lot of it. The radiator hangs out the front of your Caterham, which is why we make sure we don't make contact. It's so important. The first thing that you actually hit is your radiator, and that is race over. So Hugo Bush coming alongside, Harry Cook coming alongside Hugo Bush then as they come down into turn one. A little bit of debris kicked out the way there by Hugo. Harry Cook has got a bit of a run of speed around the outside, but Hugo Bush manages to thread the needle, makes it still in the lead as they head down through Duffer's Dip. Again, that yellow flag's out there, so no overtaking as they go through this sequence. And see, was Taylor's car just around the corner up here. They will go back to green flag racing as they head into Clark's then this time through. You can see the green flag sort of midway through Clark's, so still no overtaking on the way in here either.
3 minutes of this race to go. Looks like Lars Hoffman has shed a rear wing there. We often see that in Caterham racing, of course, as Harry Cook goes to the outside of Hugo Bush. They're side by side on the Lorenzo Taylors. Harry's never going to get round there on the outside line, surely. No, Hugo Bush has covered it off nicely. Mallet and Willis continuing to battle for third and fourth places. Behind them, it's Hoffman and McConaughey. Graham McDonald slightly on his own now in that 7th place. He's lost that lead battle slightly.
Side by side for the lead once more. Cook onto the greenery, onto the grass. Manages to get it all stopped. It's actually quite grippy grass down there, as we'll call it. But Mallet now looking to see whether he can do anything back. Cook was hanging on around the outside. It just didn't have the grip there needed as he bounces his way up through the chicane then with 2 minutes left to go. So probably 2 laps of this 310R race are left to go then. So they fly round up into Clark's, but it's Hugo Bush out front of Cook, ahead of Mallet, ahead of Willis. And where is McConaughey? He's fought his way back up to 6th place, but it doesn't look like he's going to be on the podium.
Well, McConaughey's got the fastest lap, 56.726. He's still there just behind Lars Hoffman. Or has he got ahead? No, he's got ahead of him there in the battle for 5th position. Just under 2 minutes of this race still to go. They head up over the line. It's still side by side. Bush on the inside. Harry Cook is on the outside. Can he sweep ahead of him here into Duffer's Dip? No, not quite. Bush up on the curve. He's been learning that trip from Harry Cook, I think, earlier on. Yellow flag, has it been withdrawn? Yes, it has, as they swing through McIntyres and up towards the chicane. So that overtaking opportunity is back again on the cards through there. Duncan Mallet takes a lot of curb there through the chicane, holding off Tom Willis for that third position. These 4 have broken away now. McConaughey is up to 5th ahead of Lars Hoffman. There's McConaughey. Hoffman in the red car in 6th position. And Harry Cook getting ready to try another move here up the outside. They're coming around to start the last lap this time again. Bush forcing Cook to go the long way round into Taylor's turn. Bush holds the inside. Chris Hutchinson has gone to Parc Fermé to catch up with the podium finish in this one, because Sam Parker will be in her car getting ready for the next Caterham Academy race coming up next on the programme, the green group. She's racing in that. Still the leaders are side by side, and they've been caught now by Mallet and by Willis. It could be 4 of them together for the finish of this race. Duncan Mallet has a sniff at second place. No, he got his line wrong through Leslie's there. Round the outside comes Tom Willis. Willis is going to go second. From 4th to 2nd in 2 corners. Superb by Tom Willis. Now, can he get within range of Hugo Bush and try and snatch the win? Harry Cook can't believe it. Where did you come from, he thinks, as he sees Tom Willis ahead of him there. That was a brilliant bit of driving through McIntyre's and up towards the chicane. But it looks like it is going to be Hugo Bush to hang on for the win. Or is it? They're coming down into Taylor's turn for last time. The clock has counted down to 0. Hugo Bush, who's had 2 wins this year, one at Snetterton and one at Zandvoort in the Netherlands, is surely going to make it 3 wins for the season. The man from Guildford in Surrey here at Knockhill this afternoon. There's the checkered flag. They almost go 3 wide up towards the line. The slipstream was employed, but it is just Hugo Bush who beats Tom Willis home by less than 1/10 of a second. The number 22 car takes the win. Oh, we've had a collision on the final turn. One of the cars involved there, William Wood, the number 3. I'll try and identify the other car in a moment. It may well be Harry Eyre, the 55 car involved as well there. So the win goes to Hugo Bush by 0.099 of a second. 21 laps completed. Harry Cook it is who takes 3rd place. Tom Willis, a superb 2nd there. That brilliant last lap double pass through the first half of the lap. Bad luck to Duncan Mallet, who just misses out on a podium by 0.3 of a second as well. The cars involved in that collision do manage to get themselves over the line. This was the final. This was a couple of highlights. That was the incident between Lars Hoffman and Taylor O'Flanagan. O'Flanagan, who led for so long early on, hit the back of Lars Hoffman into Duffer's Dip. You can see the steam. He's burst the radiator. Coolant everywhere. It's lucky nobody spun off on that coolant, so Graham McDonald was the man to find the fresh coolant, and he went off through the gravel. See it again from another angle there. There was the contact, and there's the burst radiator on the yellow machine of Taylor O'Flanagan, which would spell the end of his race. Brilliant side-by-side battling from the leaders Cook and Bush, and there's the contact at the end of the race with William Wood going into the back of, I think that was Harry Eyre, the number 55 car. Right, the cars are heading into Parc Fermé. We'll check out the provisional results then. Hugo Bush the winner by just under 1/10 of a second from Tom Willis. Harry Cook taking 3rd. Then Duncan Mallet in 4th. Blair McConaughey on his return to the championship in 5th ahead of Lars Hoffman. Then McDonald. Bianchi a good recovery after his off. Rob Bullen and Richard McCann rounding out the top 10. Then it was Steve Metcalf, Chris Welch, Jeff Price and William Wood. Harry Eyre completing the finishes after that incident on the final corner. And of course the only retirement, Taylor O'Flanagan. Bad luck to him once again. Blair McConaughey got the fastest lap of the race, 56.602 seconds. And with Sam Parker getting ready for her race in the Caterham Academy, my colleague Chris Hutchinson has gone down to Parc Fermé. Hear from the drivers with him in a few moments' time.
What a great race for our 310R Championship then. A rare treat for me to be outside the commentary box as Sam's getting strapped in. But let's go and have a word with our race winner then, Hugo Bush. What a fantastic result for you. What a comeback after Cadwell.
Yeah, poor weekend at Cadwell by the high standards that the 5 of us all hold ourselves to. So yeah, very very happy with that indeed.
Breathless race, right? From start to finish, no rest. I can see you're breathing heavily.
Yeah, even 5 minutes around here is hard work, let alone a 20-minute race like that. But yeah,
great result, great return, and good for your championship as well.
Exactly. Cheers, Chris.
Right, let's go and have a word with Tom Willis as well. Another fantastic result for you, and right back in the thick of things, and had to fight all the way through.
Oh yeah, it's probably the most hectic race I've had, certainly on this circuit. Haven't driven it till yesterday, so wasn't quite sure. Yeah, wasn't quite sure how it was going to pan out, but the pace felt good in the race, and I'm exhausted now. Come on.
Podiums make you like tracks, so you must love this place right now.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a really good race, and yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the video back.
Absolutely, and more tomorrow, so looking forward to that as well.
That's going to be interesting. Anti-clockwise, I don't think I was quite as comfortable testing in it yesterday, but starting second is a good start. So.
Absolutely. Well done, Tom. Cheers. And see you tomorrow. And let's go and find Harry. Harry, There's not quite the win there, but early on in that race, it looked like it might have been sort of deep in the field, so you must be pretty happy to recover it back.
Yeah, I think so. I know I had the pace, so I was a bit gutted with the start, obviously, going down to 6, but then, yeah, managed to come back through, and then it was just me and Hugo, and I was like, oh, how's this happened? And then I just couldn't quite get him. I was trying around the outside, but because he has that inside line, you know, he's just sort of covering off.
I mean, the defence around here just seemed like maybe tomorrow the weather may be a bit more changeable, so maybe more opportunities, but I'd still say third is quite a nice thing in your championship position.
I think so, yeah. It's a shame those two, I think they're the closest in the table, but yeah, it was good. And the slipstream up this pit straight really wasn't very good. Yeah, tailwind, so yeah, that's a shame. But
2 more tomorrow. Good luck. We'll see you out there, hopefully on the podium.
Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, Sam, the reason Sam's not out here doing the interviews is because she's strapped herself into her race car, so she'll be out next up. But I'm going to throw back to Dave in the commentary box now.
Okay, thanks very much indeed to Chris for popping down to Parc Ferme for us, with Sam Parker out in the next race, which is the Caterham Academy green group. We've already seen the white group. Yes, the Caterham Academy has so many students, we have to split them into 2 groups, classified by Caterham's 2 corporate colours. Now, the green group this year has been dominated by number 3, Bruno van Dijk, the Londoner. Yes, we certainly talk about Bruno this season because he's been doing plenty of winning. He won the sprint at Kerbera at the start of the year, then had wins at Croft and at Silverstone, both with fastest lap. A mistake at Cadwell Park, though, saw him take to the grass, and though he got the fastest lap again, he had to settle for second behind James Hall. Now, James is a Scotsman, based in East Renfrewshire, not far from Paisley, so he'll be eager for some success here this weekend. It is Bruno van Dijk who leads the championship by some 12 points. Second in the championship is Alex Coombs. He's in the number 21 car, comes all the way from Sussex, with James Hall in third, then Brian Thornton, Ben Snape and Oliver White rounding out the top 6. So though the leading names to look out for in the championship. Chris Hutchinson has just rejoined us in the box. We'll let him get his breath back, having dashed back from Parc Ferme, and we'll check out the grid in just a moment for our second of 4 Caterham Academy races this weekend. They have 2 races in the reverse direction tomorrow. There's proof that Chris is back in the commentary box with us. Yes, we're even on camera this weekend.
Yeah, another 2 races for our 310s tomorrow, where we'll be seeing how much more they can bring. I mean, I'm looking forward to more of that action. It was fantastic, wasn't it? A little bit of clear up, I think, going out on track at the moment.
Yeah, there's a bit of debris on the last corner at Taylor's Turn. They had a bit of a collision between 2 of our back markers on the final corner of our previous race for the 310Rs. There's one more race to come after this, which is for the Caterham 270R Championship in association with Mission Motorsport, the Forces Motorsport charity. And that was going to be another frantic battle. We then kick off in the reverse direction, the anti-clockwise direction tomorrow. The first race due off at 10:35 AM, which is the Caterham 7 UK Championship, sponsored by Vertex. There'll be 4 races before the lunch break, and then 5 more races in the afternoon. A slightly earlier than usual finish because we are up here in Scotland and a few drivers have quite a long journey home, as do
some commentators.
Yes, Chris, you're based down in Sussex. I'm just north of Birmingham, so
yeah, I've
quite a way to go.
At least 8 hours back. So yes, it's nice to get away just a touch early. But let's well, we've got so much racing to look forward to between now and then. Anyway, so we watch our marshals just having a little getting a little chance for a break. Busy afternoon for them as well, having to look after all our Caterham drivers out there. And yeah, Sam was, I could see her all fully ready to go in her race car. So looking forward to seeing what our dynamic duo of Parker Racing and also Parker as a presenter. So not many presenters have to sort of up sticks and get into their race car. We're just watching the...
I remember in historic racing a few years ago, Peter Snowden used to race and commentate at the same meetings in his Aston Martin DB2 that he shares with the Reed family.
Yep, very nice indeed. But yeah, so the Academy again. So we turn our focus from the ultimate incarnation of that Academy car, the 310Rs who we just seen flying around, and now we head our attention back to the Caterham Academy Green Group. Remember, this is a completely independent championship, so it's not they're not racing with the Caterham White Group who we saw earlier. They earn their own points, they have their own championship tables, and they have their own stories as well to go. They will get combined up into one grid for the end of season autumn trophy race, as we call it, but looking forward to seeing how they're all getting on. They had a bit of a disrupted qualifying session, and they were in a couple of red flags, so that's never going to be that great. And Sam Parker was in to I think 11th place by the time the checkered flag came out, so mid-pack, and looking to see whether she can move forward from that 11th place. But it's all been about Bruno van Dijk so far this season. He has been flying along out front, and heads the championship by quite a comfortable margin over Alex Coombs and James Hall, but certainly he's been getting most of the fastest laps as well and disappearing off down the road. So let's see whether we can keep the chasing pack in touch with him. James Hall finds himself into that second place, and Lewis Darling as well, who hasn't necessarily had all the results go his own way, but he has had he's been flying along as well, so he's had some good pace in that car and just never really realised it. He's had a second place so far, seeing whether he can get a win out of it. It's not too far then back down. Brian Thornton and Cavers, Coombs, Burden on the grid, and Ben Snape comes home in 8th place on the grid as well. So you can see all the pictures out there as well, this fabulous Knockhill circuit. And the hills that we're surrounded by and embedded in, and the greenery. And as you said earlier on, if you look down the circuit and to the left, you can see the Firth of Forth and the road bridge and across to Edinburgh as well. So it really is a spectacular place to come to motor racing. And as I know all the Caterham paddock love it, and the experience of it all. But a rare break for our marshals out there, having a cup of tea and a nice chat.
Yep, chance for a quick drink here in the box as well. So we can now bring you the grid, I think, for our second race of the weekend for the Caterham Academy Championship. The first race for the Green Group. In pole position it is the championship leader, number 3, Bruno van Dijk, alongside winner at Cadwell Park, number 46, James Hall. About 0.45 of a second apart in qualifying. Second row, Lewis Darling, number 25, and 33, Brian Thornton. Harrison Cavers, number 51, is on row 3 alongside Alex Coombs, second in the championship at the moment, car number 21. 56, Dean Burden and Ben Snape, number 8, make up row 4, completing the top 10. Number 10, Aaron Oliver, and number 24, Oliver White, not to be confused with the Porsche racer of the same name. Then on to row 6, we've got somebody called Sam Parker in number 7, swapping microphone for steering wheel, alongside 44 Andrew Davison. Row 7, 17 Daniel Crawley and 38 Jimmy Y. Then row 8, number 9 Wayne Howell alongside Charlie Nairn, number 77, the grandson of Graham Nairn, one of the founders of the Caterham car company many years ago. Row 9, Steve Loriman, number 20, and 52, Chris Hicks. Completing the top 20, Chris Morling in number 19, alongside Mark Stanser, number 60. And the final row, Alistair Kinnear, number 4, and 29, Scott Darling. That's your grid then. 22 drivers out there for what will be a 20-minute race for the Green Group.
Yep, 2 Darlings out on the grid then. One nearly topping the tables, and one near the back there. But young son outdoing father at this stage of the season. But Lewis will be looking to see what he can do from 3rd place, and certainly having had a 2nd place already, he'll be looking to see whether he can do anything about Bruno van Dijk. But everyone's talking about Bruno. He's absolutely out front and flying along, and he's got the measure of this Caterham Academy car, really like a duck to water, and has got the speed and everything he needs. So let's see whether anyone can do anything about it at this today. James Hall starting alongside, and we've seen a couple of times the pole position driver has not made a good start off the line, so they'll be all hoping again to see whether that is the case this time out. And let's see whether anyone else can have a good story today. Let's hope they get through that first turn though, because it's not always been the case for the rest of the season, for the rest of the championships today. And yeah, job 1 is to do that.
So in positioning ready for the green flag lap then. Pole position, 33-year-old Bruno van Dijk from London, alongside The home hero, James Hall, in car number 46, comes from near Paisley. Alex Coombs, second in the championship, back on row 3 for this one. He comes from all the way down in Sussex. Long journey for him to be here today. Lining up alongside Harrison Cavers, who I presume is related to Carl Cavers of the Veluga racing team, famous for their Porsches in endurance racing.
If he's not, we'll just say he is. So it's better knowledge than I've got. Yeah, but it's James Hall.
Ran Lewis Plato for a few years.
There you go. It's James Hall's the only other person to have won other than Bruno van Dijk. He took that win last time out of Cadwell Park after Bruno fell backwards after leaving the track, but he still managed to get second place with fastest lap, so only a single point was his deficit that time through. 2 turquoise cars near the front of our field, so it's going to be difficult to differentiate those two, but they're getting that 30-second signal, so it won't be too long now before they get waved off onto their green flag formation lap.
So the penultimate race of the day then here on the Knockhill circuit. Off they go on their green flag lap.
Some of them are finding the limit of adhesion there. Once these rear wheels start spinning on the Academy car, it's quite hard to get them to stop. So yeah, we did see a bit of wheel spins there, but obviously they were getting some heat into that. A little bit of a gold surround on Bruno van Dijk's windscreen there as well, just flashing in the sunlight as this great weather we've got for the tail end of today, isn't it? It looked like it might threaten drizzle at one point, but actually it's all nicely come down. There is Sam Parker in the kind of turquoise and Dutch Barn Vodka coloured cars. You can see he's there top right of our screen, heading her way through the needle. So if you want to keep up with Sam's progress, there is her car coming in front of camera now. As the rest of this big field flow on through, then again, healthy grid sizes, and great to see them all coming to the latter part of their season. So they've learned all the lessons from the early parts, their first ever race out on track, the sprint race from before, learning how do you deal with a race weekend and all the kind of pressures that come along with it, and now seeing whether they can solidify that and see who's going to come good at the tail end of the season.
Many of these drivers, of course, will move up to Roadsports next year. We'll see the Roadsports drivers move up to 270R and so on and so forth.
Yep, the first 2 championship ladders and positions of Academy you can only ever do once, because it's the only open to novices, and Roadsport you can only ever do once, so you must move on. By the time you get to 270R, team support's allowed, and you can actually stick around in the 270R championship, and many drivers do for a little bit, before then moving on to 310R, and again you can stay in there as long as you like, before then thinking about whether you want to go up into the 7 Championship UK, and again another championship that you can stay there as long as you would like. And remember, this Academy car is useful for the next 3 years guaranteed, so these drivers can all make use of this same car that they bought as part of this Academy package in the next 3 years of their racing career, and that's what a unique proposition in UK motorsport.
Marshals with the yellow flag bringing the cars up to the grid then. Can anyone stop Bruno van Dijk, the man from London, looking for his 3rd race win and 4th event win of the season, because of course the Academy opens with the sprint competition against the clock at Kerborough near Lichfield to let the drivers get acclimatised to their cars at competition speeds. Bruno is 12 points clear of Alexander Coombs in the championship, then James Hall in 3rd, 5 points further back. A couple of points behind him is Brian Thornton, car number 33, which is in there on the 2nd row.
5-second board.
Here we go then, the revs begin to rise in these 1600cc engines. Waiting for those red lights to come on. Red lights are on, the revs are up. Caterham Academy green group is go. A poor start for the pole sitter Bruno van Dijk. A lot of wheel spin there for Brian Thornton from the 2nd row. Great cloud of tyre smoke, and it is the Scottish driver James Hall who takes the early lead down into Duffer Stip for the first time. Who's going to come through in 2nd place? That looks like it's Lewis Darling up there in 2nd. Everybody else away cleanly. One car running a bit wide onto the gravel there briefly, coming out of McIntyre's. A couple more do the same further back. They fight their way through the chicane for the first time. A couple of cars going side by side. They're all through cleanly.
Yep, great start to this opening lap then for this Green Group Academy. 20-minute act of action ahead of us. And it was, James Hall making a great start. And pulling well ahead of our pole. So pole position seems to be a bit of a bogey one, but Lewis Darling still seeing whether he can hold on into that second place. Has the inside line. Bruno seeing whether he can go around the outside. Can't make it stick that time through. As another car drifting out, looks like he's got a broken suspension or something there, because that's
Brian Thornton, I think, 33.
In fact, I think he might have had a bit of bodywork stuck underneath the front of his car, which made him that he couldn't steer the car.
That's one of the leading runners in the championship, Brian Thornton, 4th in the points, but it looks like he could be out of this race in the gravel as off over the grass. That's Lewis Darling from 2nd place. Ooh, that was a Code Brown moment, as David Addison would say, our esteemed colleague, but he holds that 2nd place.
He does. It was grippy, wasn't it? He made it stick, and it would have been an uncomfortable ride. Got a waved yellow flag at the bottom of the dip there, so I wonder if there's another car also come a cropper as they come up through the chicane this time through. That's the number 10, Oliver, as he heads up. In fact, have we got a safety car, maybe? I'm just trying to...
Yes, we have.
Yeah, safety car deployed. So that's why there were a few lockups there as they all kind of figured out that everything had been slowed up.
That was what the yellow flag was for. I suspect that's for Brian Thornton's car on the exit of Taylor's hairpin at the end of the lap, because he's on the edge of the circuit in the gravel there. But yes, the safety car yellow flags taking one or two of them by surprise there, and they had to lock up to avoid passing under the yellows. Well, somebody's done it again there. Look, who's that towards the back of the field?
That is...
I'll have to identify that in a second.
That is Lorriman there in the Union Jack car, I think. Who maybe, again, didn't get the message quick enough that everything else was hauled up. I can't tell you how easy that is to do. From the outside, it looks so obvious that there's a safety car, but you are focused so much in what's in front of you and what's behind you that it can take a little while for the fact that there are safety car boards, lights flashing around, and you can easily get caught out. It's a matter of milliseconds time you've got to react, so you can't tell you how easy it is to do that. As the drivers, though, give us a chance to see where everything's settled last time out then, and it was certainly Lewis Darling having an exciting run across. Here is that start.
Now we'll see what's happened to Brian Thornton. He was wheel spinning off the line there. Now, was there contact? We'll wait and see. Did he clip the back of somebody? Well, it was Hall who took the lead ahead of Darling and Van Dijk. Now the blue and orange car there is the one to watch, number 33. Does he have any contact that may have broken something? No, he doesn't there. But he did seem to have something break up on the car.
It certainly looked like a nose cone that was stuck under it. There is that two grassy moment there for both.
There was no contact there
Bruno.
either. They were completely independent of each other.
No, they just found out. Remember, we had a bit of fluid down there late on in the race. You can see the nose cone.
It's his nose cone.
Yeah, stuck underneath the front of the car. So he will have hit someone going up, I think, into this tail as he was slightly out of position, wasn't he? And yeah, it just meant that the nose cone flopped off and meant that he had nowhere to turn.
And he was unlucky there, because normally when you hit something in one of these cars, the nose cone flips upwards and stops you seeing where you're going rather than goes under the car.
It shows how it is a serious thing when we have flapping bodywork, and why the marshals and sometimes we get the black and orange flag for it, just because if it does drop underneath the front of the car, as you saw there, and he had absolutely no steering as he went through the chicane, that dropped him into the gravel. Safety car lights still on, yellow flags waving down at Taylor's. It won't take them too long, I think, to move that car out the way, so I imagine that it will lights out for the next time around, but still plenty of time left in this. But it is Hall out front then, successfully navigating those early laps. Darling and Van Dijk showing that rallycrossing is very much alive here at Knockhill as they headed down the hill. And Coombs up into 4th place, so he's recovering his race quite nicely, ahead of Cavers, Burden, Snape, Oliver, Crawley and Davidson. Sam Parker down in 11th last time across the line.
Yeah, mentioning rallycross, you can see the rallycross course in the background here. It comes off the main circuit just before McIntyre's. You turn right instead of left, go along the Big Dipper, as I call it, the very uneven bottom straight on the dirt, then rejoin the tarmac on the run up Railway Straight towards Taylor's Hairpin. One event that's taking place here at Knockhill this year, the title decider for the BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross at the end of the season, which is always a lively event. We actually had a tie-break for that championship last year. The top two in there, because they combined all the classes together to decide the overall champion, and the top two were equal on points, and it had to be decided on a tie-break. You don't see that very often.
Amazing, a real motorsport playground up here, isn't it? They've also got a little kart track as well at the circuit here. So we're looking to see whether those lights do indeed go out, and I imagine that they will do, so I'm expecting to see these gaps be closed up. It's one of the lessons they had to learn earlier on. There is Sam in that 11th place as she headed across the line, a little bit ahead of the those following, but 14 minutes, so plenty of action left as they all go no stealth. Have they dropped back behind that safety car now? Let's see whether we can see whether that safety car is going to pull in this time through. These cars, I'd say, as an experienced driver, I want them all to bunch up because I know, yeah, there we go. It is going to go green then this time through. The safety car pulls ahead. It's going to be an early break then by Hall. He's got Lewis Darling napping a little bit there. Bruno van Dijk on right hot on his heels, and there are big gaps for a safety car restart, aren't there?
Yes, they're a little bit uneven here as they head up towards the green flag with just over 13.5 minutes of the race to go. James Hall leads them off, looking for his second win in succession in the Caterham Academy Championship. Lewis Darling under fire for second from Bruno van Dijk, the championship leader. They go down the drop on the curbs again. They're both threatening to run wide. Alex Coombs in the turquoise car in fourth place, and Harrison Cavers going well. He rounds out the top five.
It's Lewis Darling is very rarely heading in a straight line. His car's always sideways, has been since the beginning of the season. Spectacular driver to watch out there. Somehow manages to still extract the speed from it, but it's not the most consistent way around this track. Bruno van Dijk's had the extra speed just because he has kept it so nice and tidy. It looks like he is going to start attacking for that second place then, but is he got enough time to catch up with Hall? Will Hall be able to spring that gap? Here comes then Van Dijk to the outside of that corner. Is he going to make it all the way around the outside? Not this time. Lewis Darling is late enough on the brakes that he able to defend that time through.
Harrison Cavers is catching Alex Coombs for fourth place in there. Behind them it's Dean Burden, number 56. Then it's Ben Snape, the Hertfordshire driver. Still side by side for second place. Is Darling going to hang on in front this time? He is. He sweeps in from the outside defence from Bruno van Dijk, who wasn't close enough to try and make a move into Duffer Stip and then down into Leslie's through McIntyre's. Tyres up on the curb there on the outside, and then it's up towards the chicane. Well, never mind the tarmac, just goes straight over the curb there, our race leader James Hall, but you don't want to do that on too many occasions. You could get pinged for track limits. We had quite a long conversation this morning in the briefing for the drivers about where track limits were being monitored, and through the middle of the chicane actually is fair game, so they are just maximising the use. Otherwise it's very hard to thread a Caterham. You've seen how fast they go up through. It's nearly 70 miles an hour up through that. Let me get my speed. Yeah, so 78 miles an hour the 310Rs are going up through that corner. So can you imagine doing the motorway and then heading up through that corner at that speed? No is the answer for most mortal people, as Sam Parker's looking down the inside, see if she can do anything about Davidson and Crawley just in front of them. But here is Hall, and here is the battle for that second place. Bruno van Dijk again down the inside. Again, easy to forget these drivers are all in their first year of racing. Lewis Darling knows the width and the length of his car perfectly, was just about to hold, just able to hold off the attentions of Van Dijk, who has to sit back. It's single file up through here, up 75 miles an hour as they swing the car left and right through the chicane. Unbelievable speed. Certainly is. There's Harrison Cavers, the number 51, giving chase to Alex Coombs for fourth place. There was just 0.8 of a second between those two last time through. One driver who's making good progress is Jimmy Way, the number 38 car. He gained 3 places from Swindon on that last lap. He's up into P12 now. There's our Sam in the number 7. Still in P11, which is where she started, chasing after the number 17 of Dan Crawley. And just in front of them is number 44 of Andrew Davison. He's from Lutterworth in the Midlands. Lead gap is now 1.7 seconds, I should say. New fastest lap for James Hall, 101.014.
Yeah, he's got that free run of the track as the others battling then around. See the number 56 of Burden there leading this Snape and Oliver this time through. Oh, sideways Burden as he heads all the way around there. Snape can see whether he can do anything about the car in front. Will be happy to see the rear of that car stepping out. Shows that he's under pressure, and just behind them also under pressure. But yeah, see Sam Parker in that 11th place then. Crawley just in front of her, and seeing whether she can do anything. She's looking like she's got a bit of a run that time through then. You can see the cars of the pack chasing this one and seeing whether she can do anything about it. Looks like she's got the momentum. Can she move into that top 10? I know she'd dearly love that.
Excuse me, up the inside goes Ben Snape there, but doesn't make any progress into Taylor's turn. We've got 9.5 minutes of this race still to go.
Indeed we have, and we go side by side then, coming down. I think is that Coombs and
yes,
the number 51 of Cavers and Coombs side by side this time through. And there is Lewis Darling just holding over. No, that is Van Dijk overtaking for second place, and so he's finally got it done. I imagine that time too, Lewis Darling just got it slightly wrong again, going down Duffer's Dip, and that gave Bruno the absolute momentum. Bruno's got some speed in that car. He's got 9 minutes to see whether he can do anything about the 2-second gap in front of him, as long as Lewis Darling is compliant and sticks in his slipstream. I don't think that's anything compliant about that car. Lewis is going to see whether he can jump back straight away.
And the background there, we saw Alex Coombs has retaken 4th place from Harrison Cavers. Here comes Darling fighting back. Bruno Van Dijk moves to the inside, holds that 2nd place. There's the battle for P4. 2 blue cars fighting it out, but this is allowing James Hall to escape at the front. Up over the line he comes, over 3 seconds clear now. Van Dijk in 2nd place. Then Darling, Cavers, Coombs, Burton is in 6th position, the number 56. Ooh, somebody down the grass, that's Darling. That's exactly the same as he did earlier on.
Darling keeps making that mistake, doesn't he? Out onto the grass. It's not costing him anything, but he will be starting to trigger track limits. Once or twice, you know, they might say it's a mistake and an accident, but a few more times it might be that you get pinged for track limits. There's absolutely side nose to tail in this league battling. Then it is still Bruno Van Dijk just ahead of Darling, but he's absolutely giving nothing, and the gap to the lead's gone up by another second as they keep making these keep pressuring each other. So they are letting Hall run away with it. So Hall looks like at this stage of the race he's got the 2nd one, as they Darling going up the inside again. So has he made that stick as they head up the field this time?
Well, it's getting pretty aggressive, this battle for 2nd and 3rd place. The 2 black and gold cars really fighting it out. Nearly 5 seconds now the lead gap is. That's how much time these 2 are losing to our leader, because they're taking time off each other in this terrific fight. It looks spectacular. It's not helping their cause for a race victory, though. James Hall just being able to drive into the distance. Van Dijk dips a wheel into the gravel. So does Darling. Up towards the chicane they go, up over the curbs. Who's that in 4th? It's Cavers now in 4th. He's back ahead of Coombs. They're well clear of Burden in 6th. Then Snape, Oliver, Davison and Crawley rounding out the top 10. Are all 22 starters still running? They certainly are. Brian Thornton has come back out of the pits after his car's recovered, I think.
Here's that Coombs-Cavers battle. It's very much 2x2 reaction, forgetting the tools out in front at the moment as they go side by side once more. They really tight defensive line. Normally that would be really slow on the exit, but it seems like today with the tailwind they can get away with it as the chase pack behind Burden, Snape and Oliver seeing what they can do about the battle as well. Yeah, single file is the only way to go quickly round this Knockhill circuit, and Van Dijk and Darling finding that if they're battling away, they're just going to lose more and more time to Hall. And it's now nearly 6 seconds this time through, so they're losing almost a second a lap by battling each other, and it's another lesson you learn as you head on through. Here's Sam Parker then coming down, still got Crawley in front of her, can't do anything this time through into Duffer's Dip, but is still looking to see whether she can do that. She's certainly looking like she's got the pace to keep up, but it's just having that extra overspeed that you need to try and get through. See whether she can pressure Crawley into a mistake, and Crawley meanwhile will be seeing whether he can do anything about making Davison have a mistake out front.
Just under 6 minutes of this race to go now for the Caterham Academy Green Group. First of 2 races then, this only double header of the season. Well, there goes our leader, disappearing into the distance now. James Hall looking for win number 2 of the season. Still these 2 battles going on behind for P2 and for P4. There's a fight developing for 6 now, because Snape and Burden are fighting it out. So Dean Burden and Ben Snape. Just behind them it's the number 10, the maroon car of Aaron Oliver. James Hall continues to dominate on his home circuits.
Beautiful drift there as he went round McIntyre's that time. The car was absolutely exactly where it needed to be, and just sliding all 4 wheels at once, so a nice drift through the corner, not losing any speed. So even without the gap behind him, I think he would be pulling a gap anyway. So Van Dijk and Darling definitely fighting it out for that 2nd place. 5 minutes to go. They're not going to catch up with our Hall leader at the moment, but Cavers and Coombs still having their spectacular battle. It's all spread out a little bit now in the groups behind, but let's see whether there's any action in these last 5 minutes. So we've got 4 side by side coming into the hairpin here, a little bit further down the field. One of the cars absolutely late on the brakes. Is that our 2nd and 3rd drivers? Then that isn't our lead pack, is it?
hard to tell at the moment because they're in backmarker traffic, a lot of them are.
That's right. So backmarkers coming to play, and I think they were side by side. A little bit of dust coming off the rear of the car there as they explore new regions, but I think they've all come together.
They have, and it's Cavers who's got through into second place. That was Cavers who dove up the inside there. It was 4 wide almost coming into Taylor's
so some
turn.
sort of contact maybe through Clark's that time.
Has anybody lost any time? Yes, Darling and Van Dijk both did 103s last time through.
Van Dijk's got contact, he's got a rubbing rear wheel arch, so they made contact through Clark's last time through and maybe brought all of this pack together and say they all piled in as one into that chicane, and it was just saying that, saw the little gold flash of Van Dijk's car there, so he's not going to be winning this. Darling having to fight out front there to see whether he can do anything about it as this chase group behind them then all seeing whether they can come through. Here is that group then.
Okay, here's the second place fight. It's Cavers in second place at the moment. I think, yes, Darling just dove up the inside of Alex Coombs, who was third, and it's Van Dijk in behind them. Yeah, he's come through in fifth with a 102.8, so he's got a bit of damage to the back of his car. You can see that bit of smoke from the right rear. That's the tyre rubbing against some of the bodywork. Coombs back up the inside, retakes Darling for third, so it's all change in the battle for second, and James Hall must be wondering, and I interrupt myself there as the 21 nearly loses it. Alex Coombs, I thought he was going to spin in front of them all there, heading up through the chicane. And as I was saying there, James Hall must be wondering where everybody else has got to.
Absolutely, he's nearly 8 seconds in the lead now. He's not going to be worried about that at all. He might be wondering, but he's not going to worry about it. But with that tyre rub that Van Dijk's got, it will be slowing him down slightly, and hopefully, as long as it's not too severe a rub, he shouldn't be getting any sort of punctures or anything. But it is something that you need to be careful of. But in the commentary box, I think I can smell the burning rubber as his wheel rubs against the wheel arch there. But so Van Dijk in that fifth place, not exactly where he's expecting to be. Remember, we do drop scores, 2 drop scores for the Academy cars this year, so they will be able to drop away that worst score. And if fifth place is the one you're dropping, you're doing something quite well. We did watch there a little bit further. Yeah, Lorriman doing his thing as we got Darling sideways through Duffers dip once
again.
More. When have we seen that before? Oh, every single lap. Coombs back down the inside as they go into McIntyre's, but Darling's got the momentum around the outside. Is that a back marker in the way? I think it is, and Coombs is going to get caught out. Van Dijk manages to get all the way around the outside of Coombs because Coombs got caught up behind that back marker that time, so opportunistic from Van Dijk and putting himself well back in that battle again.
And that back marker was Scott Darling, the number 29, so nearly a family affair in the middle of the track there.
There we go. With 1 minute 47, they're going to have a couple of laps left, aren't they? And it's nose to tail again for Darling and Van Dijk. Exciting times in this racing going on. Exciting for this Caterham Academy green group in the first of their 2 races this weekend.
So 90 seconds left on the clock. There is Snape holding off Oliver. That's the battle for P7. So there's still further fights down the order. Hard to know where to look in this race for the green group. Well, James Hall's lead
Sam
is...
Parker there making a move up, I think, on the hairpin there, just looking like she was going underneath Crawley.
James Hall's lead is just under 7 seconds now. So Cavers has reeled him in just a little. He's shaken off the rest of that battle. As James Hall heads onto the back of the circuit for what will be, I think, the penultimate time. Get one more lap out of this. Harrison Cavers is nearly 7 seconds back on him. Chris Hutchinson is heading to Parc Ferme. Of course, with Sam in this race, Sam Parker won't be there to conduct interviews. And the fight for third is between Darling, Van Dijk and Coombs, who's down to fifth. Coombs was squeezed out on that last lap. There is Cavers, number 51, well, same number as used by the Veluga Racing Porsches, so he must be a member of that family. Here's the fight for third place. 5 of them together, including a couple of back markers in there. They're going into the last lap. The board is out, so it's going to be a win, surely, for James Hall. There he is down Duffers Dip. He won at Cadwell Park after a mistake saw Bruno Van Dijk on the grass. He fought back for second place and got the fastest lap, but it was Hall who scored his first ever race win. He liked it so much he's going to do it again here on home turf in Scotland. The man from Giffnock near Paisley in Renfrewshire through Clark Curve for the final time. Coming up on one of the back markers there. He's only got really the Taylor's hairpin to negotiate now. He'll close the gap on Bruno Van Dijk, who's currently in fourth place. We'll see what order that. All problems there. That might be the number 7 of Parker, and somebody else goes off in avoidance over the grass and the gravel there. We'll try and identify who that was in a moment. Rejoins after the chicane. The leader is coming through Taylor's turn for the final time. Battle for third is still on, but it's a win for Scotland for James Hall. He takes the victory, second win of his season and his career. Harrison Cavers comes over in second place, and who's going to be third? They're together over the line. Third goes to Lewis Darling, and Van Dijk beat Coombs for fourth in a photo finish by 0.083 of a second. Dean Burton is sixth. Then it's Ben Snape in seventh. Eighth goes to Aaron Oliver. Ninth is number 17 of Daniel Crawley, and 10th goes to Davison. So Sam Parker finishes where she started in 11th position. We await the rest of the field to come through, and then we'll bring you the provisional results. Credit to Brian Thornton, who did get going again after his off that brought out the safety car. He finished a couple of laps down at the tail of the field. Very lively indeed for the minor placings there in our second Caterham Academy race of the weekend, but the winner by nearly 6.9 seconds is James Hall. He takes a win for Scotland here at Knockhill. Have a look back at one or two of the highlights of that race in a second. Well, the starts saw not the best of getaways for Bruno Van Dijk or for Brian Thornton. See the two blue cars there of Coombs and Cavers getting up the outside. It was James Hall who took a lead that he was not to lose. Brian Thornton trying to fight back from that slightly lacklustre start. Lewis Darling using some interesting lines, as was Bruno Van Dijk through Duffer's Dip. Held second and third though, and they battled throughout. Brian Thornton's race effectively ended when his nose cone fell off and got stuck under the car. Darling and Van Dijk, almost a carbon copy of the incident a few laps earlier. This time Van Dijk got through for second. Let's see what's happened with Sam Parker. She was being chased by the number 44 of Andrew Davison. She went wide into the gravel. Nearly lost it. And as Sam rejoined, another car going off in avoidance. So that's what's happened up at Butcher's on the final lap. Let's head down to Chris Hutchinson, who has made it down to Parc Fermé to hear from some of the drivers.
Great result then for Hall there, taking that win. James Hall just ahead of Cavers, and then Lewis Darling in that third place. A little bit eventful there for Sam right at the end, wasn't it? So she was in that 10th place when I left the commentary box, but 11th place over the line. I know she'll want to do the interviews with the drivers, so we're just going to wait for her to come around. But all the drivers having their stories and events and whatnot. But I can see Sam sprinting around and ready to do the interviews. Mixed with your pleasure. Well done for your 11th place. Oh. Take it over.
Thank you. Goodness me, that was hard work. Really hard work. A crazy last lap as well. But anyway, let's go and speak to these guys. And the Scotsman wins. James, well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's good. It's good fun.
It was a good start though for you, wasn't it? Because you got into the front before the safety car.
I thought Louis was going to jump me at the start. And then after that I was just bumping along those sausages after that, and we're good.
Yeah, wow, lovely, brilliant, excellent, and did it for Scotland.
Absolutely. Just got to do it again tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. Well done.
Thank you.
Harrison, let's have a word with Harrison. Well done, Harrison. Fantastic, first podium.
I know, it's excellent. Very exciting, been waiting for it. I love the track here, so very happy with that.
Yeah, I think there's so much going on this track, isn't there? I think some people either love it or hate it.
Especially the test days going clockwise and then anti-clockwise, learning both layouts. It's a bit of a confusion, but really good. Yeah.
Excellent. Well deserved. Well done. And right, Louis, congratulations on the podium.
Yeah,
are you happy with that?
Yeah, I am. It was a hard race because me and Bruno were fighting from start to finish, really. But I thought I lost the podium at one point because Alex and Bruno got past me. I managed getting back into turn one. But it was a good race so far overall. So and ready for tomorrow now.
It keeps you in a good position for
exactly. Yeah. So hopefully I get a start like today again and take it from there. But just looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hey, well done. Excellent. There you go. Right. We've got the 270s on now, so I'll hand over to Chris and David.
Well, let Sam get her breath back then. We'll let Chris get his breath back as well. He's just returned to the commentary box. And we'll bring you the result in just a second of our Caterham Academy Championship Green Group race, the first of their 2 races this weekend. Meanwhile, on track is the Mission Motorsports Caterham 270R Championship. This is our last race of this Saturday, the last clockwise race of the weekend. And this championship has been utterly dominated, really, by number 8 Ben Timmons, the defending Roadsport champion. After a slow start to his season at Snetterton, he is on a streak of 7 race wins coming into today. He won the 3rd race at Zandvoort. He scored a hat-trick at Silverstone and then a hat-trick with fastest lap in every race at Cadwell Park.
It's been spectacular. So in the first race of the season, he got taken out by Megan Bruce into the second corner of the race. It wiped out his race car, and unbelievably, he got gifted a car by his friends. We'll catch up on that story after we've gone through the grid, though.
Yes, here's your grid. It is Ben Timmons. No great surprise, is in pole position. 0.3 of a second clear of Ryan Wilby in the number 88 who's alongside him. Second row is 94 Megan Bruce. See her in GB4 single-seaters this season as well, alongside number 28 Nick Bryant. Lionel Tolmash, number 2, on row 3, alongside 45 David Rook, then Craig Story in 56, and Toby Ballard, the number 3, on row 4. Fifth row, 20 James Empson, with Rutuj Rog Patke, number 29, for company completing the top 10. On the 6th row, Solomon Rogers, number 65, starts alongside 77 of Harvey Lawrence. Row 7 is Rob Kenley, number 14, and 71 Giles Perry. Row 8, Dan Hope, number 9, and 31 Andrew Bailey. Row 9 is Craig Boyle in the number 93, alongside Benja Headley in the 99 car. Completing the top 20, 66 Oliver Kibblewhite and 23 Gary Cross. On row 11 is 44 Rob Lowe and 49 Graham Finlayson, and 63 Andy Palmer rounds out the 25 car grid. 23 car grid, I should say, sorry.
So another great grid here, though, and the 270s have been given us, again, good racing action throughout the season. And let me just continue that story. And so, yes, after race 1 at Snetterton, he got gifted a car by Tony Jenner, who basically said, you have your rest of your season in my car, and he's taken that opportunity and he's absolutely run with it. It took him a couple of races to get back to the front at Snetterton, as he had to fight his way from right at the rear of the grid, and ever since then we have seen him out front. Had a nice battle with Ben Wheatley last time out, Ben Wheatley guesting from the Graduates Championship, managed to get the better of those 2 races as well. Spectacular action then from Ben Timmons, and really is the man on a mission and the man on the move after dominating Roadsport last year as well. Really does show he can pedal one of these Caterhams around. Can anyone do anything about it? Well, Ryan Wilby is going to see whether he can do anything from that second row. It's been a bit of a jinx to be in that pole position today, so maybe Ryan Wilby's got something he can do. He finds himself in 5th place in the championship after a few inconsistent results at Cadwell, so he's going to be looking to see whether he can fight back, just as we saw Hugo Bush doing in the last race, see whether he can do anything about that. But it's the rest of the field also up there. Megan Bruce, like I say, back up in that 3rd place, so I think there will be a little bit of make sure that we don't have that same incident. They're both on the DPR Motorsport team, so it's not a good look to hit your teammate. And Megan, I know, has had such an eventful season and running, as you say, in 270s as well as the GB4, so great to see her up here and in 3rd place. What a spectacular qualifying result. Really getting to grips with this 270R as the rest of this field go through then a brilliant field of racers, and colourful, as you can see out there as well, all with their wraps and in the sunshine here at Knockhill. It's still chilly weather, but that really means that the cars are loving the weather out there. Nice cold breeze, warmish track temperatures, but it's a fairly chilly air, which is exactly what these cars want. 3rd step of the Caterham Motorsport ladder. So these would have been last year's Roadsport drivers or drivers who want to stick around. Team support allowed, but we take off the windscreen, we take off the lights, take off the number plates. They are race cars. You can convert them back to road legal if you would like to, and some drivers again have done in the past to drive them home, but they're 270R class. We call it our coming of age because they've gone through these first 2 seasons. They know how to race cars now. They have 3 20-minute races throughout the course of the weekend, and a great sight they make.
This championship run in association with Mission Motorsport, the Forces Motorsport charity. Race, Retrain, Recover, founded by Major James Cameron of the British Army to help injured ex-servicemen and women find rehabilitation through the world of motorsport, and many great causes they have helped over the years, so thank you to all of them. Ben Timmins in the maroon and white, the ex-Tony Jenner car on pole. He used to race in purple and yellow until his car was damaged at the start of the year. Alongside Ryan Wilby, 5th in the championship, the white and black car with the orange cage and wheels. Megan Bruce is in the red and white, the Marlboro McLaren look-alike, almost on road 2, although we say Marlboro McLaren, the Marlboro colours have appeared on just about everything in motorsport over the years. I even saw a Marlboro liveried Rover SD1 at Alton Park recently.
It was remember as a kid, it was the car, and I can see why his cigarette sponsorship has disappeared from motorsport. But the 5-second board is up then. We're going to get this 270R race up and running.
Nick Bryant on the second row, the blue and green car. Watch for him making his way down the outside, but can anyone stop Ben Timmins making it 8 wins in a row? We're underway. He's made a decent getaway, so has Ryan Wilby. Down towards Duffus Dip they go for the first time. It's a great start by Timmins. He cuts across in front of the car, making a good start from the outsides. I thought he might. Nick Bryant, winner of the opening race of the season at Snetterton. They swing their way through the right-hander for the first time. Megan Bruce has made a dreadful start. She's near the back of the field. What's happened there? The number 94 car.
It almost feels like she might have stalled off the line then, because it's very difficult to lose that many spaces without having been stationary. So she finds herself with a lot of work then to do to go back through. Unless we went off into gravel, that's the only other opportunity. But I think we would have seen a bit of a cloud of dust. So I think she maybe didn't go off the line very well. But Ben Timmins has broken the curse of that pole position. Ryan will be well in contention. And as you say, Bryant just following along behind one of our only other race winners this year, as so dominant has been Timmins, and the rest of this field flowing on round Taylor's then, seeing what they can do in this 20 minutes of action.
Here they come then up towards the timing line for the first time. Timmins from Wilby, that's Bryant. David Rook, number 45, another man upholding Scottish honour this weekend. The man from Blair Gowrie is in 4th place in the red and black car, as Nick Bryant flies the curb there at Duffus Dip. But it's Ben Timmins out front once again. Apart from that opening weekend at Snetterton, he's only been beaten once. That was a second place at Zandvoort behind Toby Ballard, number 3, who's a little further down the lineup in P7 at the moment. There's Rog Patke in his familiar pink car, the former Academy champion, as they fight it out in the pack. I noticed, talking of iconic liveries, Megan Bruce was running nose to tail with Graham Finlayson, who's in the green and orange 1991 Le Mans Mazda lookalike.
Yeah, getting together out there on track, and yeah, as if they'd never been apart. As I just watched a little bit further back, Craig Story had an absolute sideways moment as we caught him going round McIntyre's that time, but he got it all drifted and pointing in the right direction. Did we lose one car into the gravel?
I saw tyre tracks into the gravel. Somebody's gone off there, I think. We don't know who it is, though. There's one car adrift at the back of the field, but I think somebody may have gone into the barriers there. We'll pick that up in a moment, see if there's any yellow flags out as the cars come through the section out of the chicane. So Timmins leads it from Wilby. Bryant's in 3rd place. Running out a little bit wide there, the number 3. That's Toby Ballard. Somebody else kicking up some dust. I think that was Craig Story again, the black and Dayglow yellow car. Number 2 there with wheels on the curve is Lionel Tolmash. Yes, that is his real name. No yellow flags, so whoever that was that had gone wide has recovered at the back of the field. Have a look, it was Rog Patke, number 29. He's dropped to the tail of the pack, so it must have been him who ran wide.
There you go. Harvey Lawrence as well, one to keep an eye out for in 8th place this time through. Had a great simulator action. As we see side by side, Ryan will be down the inside of Timmins this time into Taylor. So can he demote Timmins back to the somewhere other than the first place for the first time? Not as they went over the line, but there was only 78 1,000ths of a second as they crossed the line that time through. But it is still Timmins out in front of Wilby, ahead of Bryant. Rook, our local driver, making use of the fact he's only had about an hour's drive to get to the circuit, rather than it's 7 or 8 that he has to go to most circuits around the UK. But as I said, Lawrence back in the 8th place, and he had a great simulator race here just last week, as we do in every warm-up towards this racing season. So seeing whether he can do and recreate the real-world antics, and he's in 8th place at the moment. Great result for him.
Lionel Tolmash, who's a little further down the championship table, he missed the race at the meeting at Silverstone a few weeks ago, and only scored in one of the 3 races at Cadwell, so he's quite a way down the table. He's got the fastest lap here, 58.2, his quickest time. He challenges there for 4th place. Still Ben Timmins only just ahead of Ryan Wilby. Then Bryant, Rook, Tolmash. Story is in 6th place despite a couple of wayward moments. Behind him, Toby Ballard, who's been a little bit subdued so far in this race. Lawrence Empson and Kennelly rounding out the first 10. There's a change for the lead there coming along the top straight. Ryan Wilby has taken the lead this time from Ben Timmins, so first time in quite some time we see Timmins demoted to second.
Yeah, and normally at this stage Timmins is trying to check out in front of them all as they head down the field then. And yeah, so he's not a usual thing, but we've seen him when he was racing Wheatley last time. He is not afraid to get stuck in as well. And reminder that, yeah, it's a good result for all of these things. But yeah, to see Ballard all the way back there in 7th place, 2nd place in the championship coming in this weekend. So really not where he is, maybe not hooking up with this Knockhill circuit in this direction. But regardless of what they feel about it in this direction, by tomorrow they're going to be racing in the other direction. So maybe he'll have a better luck in reverse. And still plenty of time in this race with 15 minutes to go. Tolmarsh knew he wasn't going to be able to do the whole season this year, so he has relaxed into that and knew that he's just going for results rather than anything else. And certainly looking good in that 5th place at the moment. Had all the speed at Cadwell Park, just couldn't quite bring them home, and had a couple of DNFs in the end, so that's why we saw him drop backwards.
Down Duffer Stip come the leaders. These 5 have broken away. It's Ryan Wilby from Ben Timmins, Nick Bryant in 3rd, David Rook, Lionel Tolmarsh. And up towards the chicane they go, taking plenty of curb in the first element, then run wide out of the second onto the outer curb. Nick Bryant's having a brief look there for 2nd place on the back of Ben Timmins. Then the second train is headed up by Craig Story, the number 56. It's Ryan Wilby, number 88, the man from Halifax in Yorkshire. Bryant now sweeps to the inside, Timmins to the outside. They're getting closer and closer, still plenty of time to go as Bryant onto the inside. Timmins tries to close the door. How's Megan Bruce back up to after her problems at the start? She's up to 17th now.
Still not making that big progress. You can see her on her screen as she goes round the hairpin that time. So got back past a few, but it's just tough in this field. There's not much speed left on the plate as we go side by side for our lead once more. Bryant looking like he's tasty and looking to see whether he wants to get into that 2nd place. It's just that it doesn't look like it's possible up into Clark's today, whether it's just the direction of the wind or how things are working out, and no one's been able to make a move up there. Sometimes you do see moves up into Clark. Tolmarsh sideways as he went through the chicane that time through, followed by Story, who was, or Story and Ballard, who was sideways as he went through there that time, as you're watching them flow up into Clark's. Wilby, though, he's maintained his lead for a little bit now.
Ben Timmins got a bit loose through the chicane as well there and had to tap the brakes, and that's lost him some momentum. Nick Bryant thought about an attack as they went through Clark's, but wasn't close enough. It is still Ryan Wilby who shows from Timmins, Bryant, Rook, then Tolmarsh. So a change for 6. Toby Ballard has got ahead of Craig Story on the back of the circuit there. So a change for P6 behind their number 20 James Empson as they come up over the line, and Rob Kennelly getting ahead of Harvey Lawrence. They round out the first 10.
Front 2 breaking away just a touch from Bryant that time through, although it's all starting to come back together. But Bryant's going to have to start looking in his mirrors because Rook is there and he's certainly used to getting onto that podium, so he'll be looking to see whether he can get back there, but he's still having to check his mirrors. It's very much nose to tail at the moment. They're kind of happy at the moment, I think, just to sit and watch the cars around them as we see them bouncing through that chicane and landing the cars just before the gravel. As they look there, Sol Rogers also having a good race, it looks there, in 13th indeed. That's a good result for him. Megan Bruce continuing her progress through, now into 16th, so making that place per lap. There's Craig Story just going down there in 7th place, following along behind Ballard this time through.
Just over 12 minutes of this race to go for the Mission Motorsport Caterham 7 270R Championship. Somebody going straight on there, almost into the gravel at Taylor's hairpin. Didn't see who it was. Side by side for the lead. Ben Timmins is on the outside lines. He's going to try and cut underneath Ryan Wilby as they come down to McIntyre's. No, he's not close enough. This is great driving by the Yorkshireman in the number 88 car. Nick Bryant determined to get P2 away from the runaway championship leader. Ben Timmins already 50 points ahead in the championship, so he is almost with one hand on the championship trophy already. Daniel Hope is in 3rd place in the points. He's down in P11 in this race. We haven't seen much of Dan in this one, and Rob Kennelly 4th with a 7-point gap to Hope. Rob Kennelly only just inside the top 10, so it's been consistency from those runners. They're not normally towards the front of the field, but those who are further up the order in this race are the ones who've been suffering misfortunes.
Yeah, Rook just lost out a couple of places that time through. I think Tolmarsh and Ballard maybe got through there. Let's watch him as he goes over. Tolmarsh certainly ahead of him as he went across the line, and the rest looking to see where they can. Side by side once more for the lead. We saw in the 310s you could get some momentum around that outside, but we haven't made it stick yet for Timmins. Has to sit in that second place. Bryant's still in that third place, and then it's Tolmarsh ahead now of Rook and Ballard. And like you say, yeah, the consistency does come to the fore, and Hope drivers like Hope who have dropped to the 11th place in this race, that's not going to be great. It's always a wonder that we can get Hope sort of crimped and pushed into a Caterham. He's a sizable human being, let's put it that way. So yeah, it's unbelievable we can bend him into one of these Caterhams. They're not the biggest cars, but we do, and he's now having to fight in that top 11 just behind Harvey Lawrence.
This is a battle a little bit further back. That's the number 14, Rob Kennelly, the blue car. There's been a change for P7. James Empson, the green number 20, has got ahead of Craig Story there. So that's a change within the top 10. Andrew Bailey there, the red car going through. He's a little bit further back.
Place for Megan. She going around the hairpin that time, so it looks like she's probably up into 14th now as she comes across the line. So we watch that lead trio going through. Rook now having a gap ahead of him. Tolmarsh just in his rear view mirror. So Rook making his way back up that time through. Sideways action from Craig Story that time just behind the number 20 there of Empson. So Empson in the green car this year, just fighting it out with Craig Story, and Craig Story having a barrier moment at Cadwell, so he'll be glad to see everything pointing in the right direction and track side as well.
So we've just gone past half distance in this 20-minute race for the Michelin Motorsport Caterham 270R Championship. James Empson trying to close in on the top 6 ahead of him. Still Ryan Wilby from Ben Timmins, almost side by side through the hairpin. The top 2 breaking away.
Timmins might have the run on him. Let's watch him over the line this time, because he definitely had a bit of momentum around the outside. This is his best chance yet. You can see him on the outside pit wall. He is gaining some ground, and now Wilby's having to look at Bryant as well. Bryant down the inside of both of them. Timmins sweeping around the outside. Do they make it all through? They do.
Oh,
great move by Timmins there. Bryant slots into second. Ryan Wilby, the big loser there, just got pinched on the apex of the Taylor's hairpin, so he comes out in third place.
Superb driving from both Ben Timmins and Nick Bryant. I thought Bryant was going to dive down the inside of both of them there, but Ben Timmins, the undisputed master this season in the 270R Championship, chased by Ryan Wilby. Then a gap back to Rook, who's ahead of Ballard, who's now into P5. He's got ahead of Lionel Tolmarsh at the end of the previous lap. Got 2 groups of 3 at the front of the field. Ben Timmins now has the lead. Here we go, 3 wide again into Taylor's turn. This is never going to work, surely. Ryan Wilby's going to have to cede there. He goes out wide.
He will have the momentum, though, coming up the pit straight. That wide line means you've got a longer acceleration zone. It's quite a steep hill, but he might well be coming into our view now in side by side.
Here they come. There's nothing between the 3 of them over the line. It's Timmins just ahead of Wilby, who's got the inside run here. Bryant has to tuck in behind Wilby. They go down Duffer's Dip into Leslie's. What's Ryan Wilby going to try here? He's going to be determined to attack back on the tail of Ben Timmins. There's still nearly 8 minutes of this race to go, so lots could still change. Ballard's up to 4th now, so Toby Ballard, after a quiet start to this race, he's now starting to get his second wind. Bryant nearly clips the back.
Does clip the back.
He did clip the back of Ryan Wilby. He was bump drafting him. That was like NASCAR or Legends racing. We know they're very popular here at Knockhill, the Scottish Legends Championship, and that was like their bump drafting form of racing. Get off, says Ryan Wilby. And Ben Timmins says, OK, if you're going to dogfight each other like this, I'm clearing off.
There were millimetres between those cars most of the time, and then we just saw it drift down to 0 millimetres as that chase pack. Then Rook falling back behind Ballard and the rest of the flying through. I couldn't believe there were still 3 cars at the apex of that corner. Somehow they made it all work. Timmins has not managed to spring free, though. He tried, didn't he, hard, with Wilby and Bryant disagreeing over who owned the bit of track. Bryant having to slip to that 3rd place, Wilby into 2nd, and now it is Ballard is that ahead now of Bryant. So Ballard's still holding ahead of Rook that time through, but Rook has had a sort of topsy-turvy race, as has Tolmarsh, moving up and down the order kind of every single time we come back to them. Craig Story's managed to get across the gap and is in that sort of full pack of cars. Story looking to see whether he can get ahead of Ballard. He's blocking his way to the pack in front that he wants to get through.
Fantastic racing once again then. The first 3 nose to tail, then Ballard in 4th place. We'll see what the gap is between 3rd and 4th. It's 2 seconds last time through. Is Toby Ballard going to catch up to our top 3 and tow everybody else up behind him? He's got David Rook behind him, then Tolmarsh is in there, Empson and Story in 8th place. Then only a small gap to Kennelly and Harvey Lawrence, who nearly got through on the previous lap here at the hairpin. They're going to go 3 wide here as they come down towards Duffer's Dip this time. This is going to be fantastic. No, Brian Wilby moves to cover. Nick Bryant tried to get around the outside there. David Rook is in 4th place at the line. He could get back ahead of Toby Ballard. We'll have a look back to them at the moment. It's all about our 3 leaders at the moment. Timmins pulls out a lead of a Caterham length or so as they go over the chicane at the top. 3rd place is Bryant, the blue car with the Dayglow yellow roll cage. Then a gap back to our fights for 4th place. Is it the red car? Yes, David Rook, the Scotsman, has got back through into 4th ahead of Toby Ballard. James Empson is up to 6th. He's got ahead of Lionel Tolmarsh as well.
Gone? Tolmarsh, I didn't see him in that queue there, so has he been withdrawn and into the gravel trap somewhere? No, there he is. He's still there. He was just tucked up so far behind Empson that I couldn't see him, but there we go. Rook side by side with Ballard then down the inside and holding on, and it's Story making a little bit of progress through that, but they've let Kennelly and Lawrence catch up, so they're all part of that group, and we've got this chase group. There's Megan Bruce making her progress through. Last time across the line 15th, so she's got stalled a little bit, but I think she made up another place that time.
But over the line they come. Rog Patke hasn't made much progress from the back of the field. He's up to 15th behind Megan. As the leaders head down. I can't believe there's still 5 minutes of this race to go.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic action from these 270Rs.
Over the chicane comes the 4th place fight. There's James Empson, the green car, in 6th, chasing David Rook. Behind him in 7th is Tolmarsh in the black car. Then it's Craig Story, Rob Kennelly, Harvey Lawrence still on the back of that group. The next group is headed up by Craig Boyle, the number 93 there. He is ahead of Daniel Hope, 3rd in the championship, but only down in P12 in this race, and he's being followed by Solomon Rogers, number 65.
All action all the way up and down this field, this lead group of cars all the way down to Sol Rogers there, all within sort of touching distance of each other, not too far off there, but it is a lead group of 3 as Ryan Wilby now takes, Ryan Wilby loses out to Nick Bryant. Nick Bryant really got out of bed the right side this morning, didn't he, and holding on in there. One of our only other drivers to win race this year, and he's looking like he's in that 2nd place for keeps at the moment, with Ryan Wilby seeing if there's anything he can do about it. They've got a gap now ahead of this Rook battle. Rook, Ballard, Empson, Tolmarsh, Kennelly all running fairly nose to tail, but Ryan Wilby now finds himself in that 3rd place. Can they do anything about keeping Timmins in their sights and in view? They've got 3.5 minutes to go, so we're probably going to have, 3 and a bit laps, for 4 laps to go of this race. Still plenty of action as Bryant defends down the inside. Ryan will be going to get the run as he goes up over the line this time through.
Well, this is superb stuff. There's the battle for 4th place, still headed up by David Rook. He would dearly love a podium, but we'll see how far back he is. Yeah, he's 4 seconds back on Bryant and Wilby now, who are still side by side in down to Duffer's Dip. Bryant will be back up the inside, retakes that 2nd place, just over 3 minutes to go. Ben Timmins' lead is nearly a second now as these two slug it out behind him. They're going to lose time and drop back from the runaway championship leader. He's going to run away with this race in its last couple of laps.
Ben Timmins doing Ben Timmins things, isn't he? Just springing that lead. Bryant going to look up into Clark's again that time, but nothing doing. It doesn't seem like that is a great overtaking opportunity, but Ben's just managed to break clear at exactly the right moment. These two are now squabbling, thinking, well, I'm fighting for 2nd now, but not for the win, as this nose-to-tail train of 270Rs comes through. What a sight to behold. And all the way down to the end of the top 10 there. Craig Story having a great run through. Going to fan out across the line. Tolmarsh looking down the inside there of Ballard and Empson, seeing whether he can do anything. Craig Story seeing whether he can pick up the pieces. And yeah, the drives behind, but what a sight these are. It's, again, going nose to tail. Bryant looking to the outside of Wilby. Wilby have got that covered off this time through. And again, that gap's grown just ever so slightly to just over a second now.
As that was Rob Kennelly diving up the inside as well, getting involved in that 4th place battle, the blue number 14 car. 2 minutes remain then for Bryant in the number 28. Nick Bryant from just outside London gets a wheel out onto the curb there, attacking the 88 of Ryan Wilby for 2nd, but it's Ben Timmins from Chelmsford in Essex who looks to have got another win almost sealed up. We don't want to put the curse of the commentator on him. He's looking for his 8th
All
win
his friends
in
and
succession.
family will be telling us to shut up right now. Don't say things like that. But Rog Patke setting fastest lap with a 57.945, back down in 14th. He is over the top of Megan Bruce last time across the line, so clearly got the speed further down that order. Our old Academy champion came up into 270R, skipping out Roadsports, and back with us this weekend, and not where he wants to be, but he's got the speed in that car as Timmins disappears up the road. Bryant now in the inside of Ryan Wilby. Ryan Wilby trying everything he can to get through. Another of our sim racers showing all the skills and that he's developed in the virtual world and bringing it to bear in this clockwise direction today. Remember, we've got this all to do again, twice more for these 270s in the anti-clockwise direction tomorrow.
I can't wait for that coming up tomorrow. These have been some of the most frantic races so far today. These and the road sports, I think, are often the most frantic. Well, it's difficult to pick, really, as the leaders head through Hislops onto Railway Straights. Here comes Ryan Wilby out of the slipstream. There was contact there between the two of them. They've banged wheels, and there goes the rear spoiler, I think, missing from Bryant's car on the left rear.
Just lost his rear wheel arch again. Like you said, not really something that's that unusual. And Caterham Motorsport getting pushed down the inside, got squeezed onto the apex. I think that was by Ballard there. So Ballard absolutely disagreeing that was his piece of tarmac. Rook said, nope, my wheel's there, and he left it in there as well. Ryan will be going to coming onto their last lap, so this will be the final lap of this 270R, the final lap of action for Caterham here at Knockhill. Fantastic day's action. Who's going to come out in the second and third place? I think we've decided our winner already.
So Ben Timmins it is who leads by nearly 2 seconds. He's cleared off. This is the battle further back in the midfield. Craig Story all over the back of Rob Kennelly in the blue number 14 car. Up through the chicane for the final time. It's Toby Ballard, I think, who has 4th place at the moment. Bryant is in 2nd ahead of Wilby. It's going to be a win for Ben Timmins. It's going to be win number 8 in a row. But who is going to be second? Ryan Wilby will try his hardest to bring in a last bend lunge and try and slipstream his way past Nick Bryant. He goes to the outside to try and get the cut back out of the final hairpin, but it's going to be a win for Ben Timmins. He comes up across the line, 8 in a row for Ben Timmins, the dominant championship leader, side by side across the line. I think Bryant just got there for 2nd place. He did by 16 thousandths of a second. There's a photo finish for 4th between Ballard and Rook as well. Ballard gets that by 0.081 of a second. And then Empson, Kennelly, Story, Tolmash and Lawrence as quickly as that. Wow. A superb race to round off our first day here at Knockhill.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Some really good action. Just a bit of contact there between Brian and Wilby twice. But given how hard they're racing, it's not surprising. And Timmins just getting sprung off the front of the field just as he needed to. Again, showing that whilst he has led and run off into the distance a couple of times, he is absolutely up for the fight, and a great peddler of these Caterhams indeed. He takes his X number of wins. I've lost count now. He's got, I think, 8 or 9 wins this season now, so fantastic result for him as he heads down. Bryant will be rounding out that podium, and a fantastic podium that is.
Just looking across the points chart there. That's his 10th win of the season, in fact, Ben Timmins, by just over 2 seconds ahead of Nick Bryant. 3rd place going to Ryan Wilby. Then the 2nd battle headed up by Toby Ballard, and a photo finish with David Rook. Then Empson, Kennelly, Story, Tolmash, Lawrence, Boyle, Rogers, Daniel Hope 13th. Megan Bruce recovering after a terrible start to take 14th place, just ahead of Rog Patke, who had an off early on. And Andrew Bailey, Oliver Kibblewhite and the rest of them. All 22 cars went the distance in that first race of the weekend for the Mission Motorsport Caterham 7 270R Championship.
As we wait for them then to all arrive back in Parc Fermé, which they will start doing very soon. I can see them going past. A reminder that, we're all back here to do it all again tomorrow, starting at sort of around, is it 10 o'clock in the morning? We got we got some practice sessions, so it's 10:35 tomorrow for racing action. But I can see all the cars heading down into Parc Fermé then, where Sam will be eagerly waiting to listen to their stories and hear from our top 3.
Well, I loved watching that race, and that was a great way to end the Caterham racing today, and fantastic. So close between these guys, and that's the beauty of a short circuit. They don't really, it's very rare to put out a big gap, but that was fantastic driving from these guys. So close, and win number 8 in a row for you, Ben. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that feels really good to say. I feel like I had some unfinished business with Knockhill after being here the academy year and only managing 50% of the races. So no, really pleased with that one. No, these two boys were exceptional there. Like I honestly, I was just clinging on to the back of Ryan for the first few minutes. He was so fast, and as soon as you're out the front, the pressure's on and you start slipping and sliding. It's really tough. So yeah, really chuffed to have got the points as well. So yeah, very happy.
It's good because Ryan had a good lead, didn't he, for a bit? You know, he was there, but you were not going to let him get away with it.
No, for the first time I think this season I led into turn one after starting the pole. So like normally Ryan, Nick, or one of the other guys who's lightning off the line would do me. So I thought, yes, finally I might be able to maintain a bit of a lead. And then yeah, he just got me into that last corner. He was just so strong on the brakes. And I just didn't really have an answer for it. I think I made some good moves around the outside of there to keep myself in contention. And yeah, just very clean, fair racing. But yeah, very pleased to have come away with the first place there.
A good position for tomorrow for the start of that race.
It is exactly that. It's so two races in the opposite direction. I'll be honest, I think that's probably my weaker direction. So have to probably get the elbows out tomorrow. And I know that these guys again are very fast that way. Probably less opportunities to overtake as well. But let's see how we get on tomorrow.
I'm sure you'll find a way.
Figure it out.
Well done, Ben. Nick. Congratulations! That was so close, wasn't it? Between you and Ryan.
It was good. Pretty much clean the whole way around. I think that's how we wanted it. And then the last 5 minutes, it was a bit more tussling. But yeah, it was good. We managed to pull away, and yeah, I enjoyed that one. It was tighter.
Yeah, there's no rest around here, is there?
No, it's not. I don't think I'll breathe for 20 minutes. Yeah, all good though. All good. Yeah. Happy with the result.
Excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
I'll have a quick word with Ryan. Well done. Well done. I mean, almost, you're in the lead, weren't you?
I thought at one moment, this is going to be my moment, but, not quite again. But a brilliant fun race, like one of the most fun races I've had.
Yeah. It looked fun, and you were it was lovely, clean racing.
That's it, yeah, and everyone was very fair, left a lot of space. And it is high risk, coming into turn one. It's when you're side by side and trusting that the guy next to you is going to give you the room, but we were all very respectful, it was good. So, yeah, pleased with that.
And I was saying to Ben, good position for tomorrow, for the start of that one.
It is tomorrow, and, at one point I thought I might even be able to win this one, so let's see tomorrow.
Do you like the anti-clockwise?
I think everybody does. I think it's a little bit more technical this way around, personally, but that way around I think everyone likes it and it'll be a good race.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we look forward to watching that one.
Oh, cool.
Well done.
Thanks a lot.
Right, that's it for the Caterham Racing here today. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and it is still sunny. It's actually really warm now, which is great, and hopefully we'll have good weather for tomorrow. But yes, do join us tomorrow. We've got another full day of racing. I'll hand back to Chris and David in the commentary box.
Thank you very much indeed to Sam Parker. Superb interviews down there in Parc Fermé today. We do it all again tomorrow. We kick off at 10:35 a.m. with the Vertex Caterham 7 UK Championship, the first of 4 races before our lunch break. All races over 20 minutes, of course. We're all in the opposite direction tomorrow as we race on the anti-clockwise circuit layout here at Knockhill, the only circuit in the UK that can run in both directions. A very busy day of racing. The last race at 4 p.m. for the Mission Motorsport Caterham 7 270R Championship. Everything we've seen today is out again. 100% Caterham Motorsport here at the home of motorsport in Scotland this weekend. Any final words for today, Chris?
No, I just thoroughly enjoyed today, and I can't wait for racing all to happen again, like say in the other direction. And weather's also looking a little bit more changeable, so more variables I think there tomorrow. So yeah, make sure you tune in, and like I say, everything we've done today we're going to do even more tomorrow, dialing up to 11.
Surely up to 7.
Oh, very good, yes.
Caterham 7, that is, of course. Yes, great to have you with us here today. Thank you very much indeed to all the marshals and other officials here at Knockhill. As always, you couldn't go racing without them. Thanks to all our camera crews and everyone else here at Knockhill today. We do it all again tomorrow, but from me and Chris, it's goodbye. We'll see you at around 10:30 tomorrow morning.
Bye-bye.